Chapter 1134 Activate the 10,000 Spirit Saint. Kill. Destroy the Yin Ghost clan. Exterminate these reckless humans. How dare you invade our netherworld divine mountain? Become a corpse buried under the ground of our netherworld divine mountain. The trillions of soldiers on both sides charged at each other and quickly engaged in battle. Yanjun stood in the middle of the army and looked at the battlefield with a solemn expression. Then, his expression turned uglier. This was because he saw the Yin Ghost clan soldiers, generals, heroes, and god spirits being beaten up by the Blazing Sun Kingdom's army. The difference in quality between the two sides was like one in the sky and the other in the ground. There was no comparison at all. As for the god spirits and true god tier, they had an obvious advantage. Yanjun finally heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this. However, he looked at the powerful Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers on the battlefield, and his expression turned serious again. Even though I have the advantage in terms of god spirits and true god tiers. However, in terms of ordinary soldiers who are not god spirits, the Blazing Sun Kingdom has an extremely obvious advantage. The intel was right. The soldiers under the common people's regal are really all Empire tier soldier types. But how is this possible? Where did he get so many resources and treasures to nurture an Empire tier soldier type? Yanjun was puzzled. The nurturing of an Empire tier soldier type was not that simple. Compared to the Empire tier soldier type, the Army Extermination Knight, that only the virtuous Titan race could advance to in the past, this was obvious. Not only did he need to satisfy the requirements of a large number of resources and treasures, but he also needed clansmen who could perfectly meet the requirements for the job change. Coupled with decades, or even hundreds of years of training, he would be able to complete the job change requirements of the Empire tier soldier type and successfully change to the Empire tier soldier type. As for the Empire tier soldier type class change certificate, Yanjun didn't even think about it. To them, obtaining an Empire tier soldier type class change certificate was much more difficult than personally nurturing an Empire tier soldier type soldier. Moreover, the 5 trillion soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom were all Empire tier soldier types. How could these soldiers be recruited using the Empire tier soldier type recruitment books and class change certificate? It was impossible. He could only feel that the common people's regal might have found a shortcut that could allow them to quickly, and in large quantities, change their profession to an Empire tier soldier type. That was why they could have so many Empire tier soldier types in such a short period of time. At this moment, he saw True God Shenghua, Demon Flood Dragon Race True God Dickens, Shadow Clan True God Tarokal, Jackro, and more than 10 other high-level True Gods charging at him, the leader of the Yin Ghost clan. Along the way, some Yin Ghost clan god spirits wanted to stop these True God tiers, but they were all casually killed by them. Yanjun's expression was calm, but he was not flustered. Xiaofeng Shuechun. It seems that they are all here for us. There's no need to hold back. Let's fight with all our might. Even if we don't take down the common people's regal today, we have to beat him up, so that he won't dare to invade the territory of our 3 races in the future. Yanjun said. The divine power in his body surged, and he was already prepared for battle. Sure. Then let's fight with all our might. Xiaofeng and Shuechun looked at each other, and quietly took a step back, coming beyond Yanjun. When Yanjun sensed that something was wrong, Xiaofeng and Shuechun, who were behind he, instantly had ferocious expressions on their faces. They each brandished their divine artifacts and attacked Yanjun's back. Yanjun did not expect his ally to ambush him at this time. The defenseless, he couldn't react in time at all. Half of his divine body was chopped off by the combined full power strike of the 2 gods, and the aura on his body suddenly decreased. Yanjun gritted his teeth and teleported away, appearing 10,000 meters away. He looked at Xiaofeng and Shuechun coldly and in confusion. You joined the common people's regal? Why? With our combined strength, even the common people's regal can't do anything to us. After we repelled the attack of the common people's regal, we are still the patriarchs of our respective races and enjoy supreme status and power. Our race can still be independent. Isn't this better than you relying on the common people's regal? Yanjun did not understand Xiaofeng and Xue Chen's choice. Idiot, Xiao Feng sneered. Short-sighted, Xue Chen uttered indifferently. Seeing that their offensive was effective, although they couldn't directly kill the other party, they weren't in a hurry. Instead, they turned to their respective racial factions and ordered, all Heaven Hidden Clan/Rakshasa clansmen, listen up. Execute the real battle plan and eliminate these stubborn Yin Ghost clan soldiers, heroes and god spirits with the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Yes, sir. The 2 trillion Heaven Hidden race and Rakshasa soldiers uttered in unison. Then, without hesitation, he turned around and brandished his weapon, charging towards the Yin Ghost clan soldiers beside him. How could the Yin Ghost clan soldiers have expected this to happen? The Yin Ghost clan soldiers, who had yet to recover from their shock, were stabbed in the rear this time. The Heaven Hidden clan soldiers and Rakshasa soldiers killed nearly 10 billion Yin Ghost clan soldiers. The Yin Ghost clan and the Yin Ghost clan had also lost more than 100 deities. When Yan Jun saw this scene, the calm and deep expression on his face finally disappeared, and his face instantly turned pale. However, what made he feel also more despair came. In the sky, Zhou Fight calmly raised his right hand and pointed in the direction of the Yin Ghost clan soldiers. An invisible fluctuation instantly covered the entire battlefield of the Netherworld Sacred Mountain, like ripples on the water surface. A text notification appeared. Prompt: you have activated your mythical tier unique Lord talent, 10,000 Spirit Saint. All spirits see you as a supreme saint and long to follow you. Lord talent notification 1. There are approximately 851 trillion Yin Ghost clan members, 176 billion Black Iron Tier Demon Flood Dragon Race soldiers, 140 billion Black Iron Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 80 billion White Silver Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 50 billion Yellow Gold Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 35. 6 billion White Platinum Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 10. 1 billion Diamond Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 5. 6 billion Extraordinary Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 3. 5 billion Epic Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 265 million Legendary Tier Yin Ghost clan members, 2,561 Low-Tier Deity Level Foreign Race God Spirits, 1,586 Mid-Tier Deity Level Foreign Race God Spirits, 919 High-Tier Deity Level Foreign Race God Spirits, and 48 True God-Tier Foreign Race God Spirits broke away from their lords and became your loyal followers. Lord Talent Notification 2. You have obtained a Spellcaster, Lovis, Legendary Tier Advanced Grade. When Zhou Fight saw this result, he nodded in satisfaction. This time, the 10,000 Spirit Saints harvest was not bad. He directly gave him 501,170,989,160 soldiers. In addition, he also obtained 5,066 God Spirits, and a total of 48 true God-tier God Spirits. A single 10,000 Spirit Saint had almost doubled the size of his team of God Spirits. It was so comfortable to freeload. Zhou Fight sighed. Chapter 1135 Yan Jun's Spoils of War. The Yellow River Token. Then, he directly ordered the Yin Ghost clan soldiers and god spirits affected by the 10,000 Spirit Saint to counterattack the soldiers and god spirits beside them. Their loyalty was as high as 90 points, allowing them to accept and carry out Zhou Fight's orders without hesitation. Hence Yan Jun, who was already in the mood of betrayal, saw in despair again that the soldiers of his race had actually been stabbed in the back by their own soldiers. Their morale had already dropped because of their allies' betrayal and backstabbing. After experiencing backstabbing, they couldn't believe in their allies and comrades. Their morale dropped to the freezing point. The remaining Yin Ghost clan members numbly resisted the siege of the Rakshasa clan, the Heaven Hidden clan, the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and their fellow soldiers. In addition to their extremely low morale and the huge disparity in strength, they had completely lost all hope in this war. Aha! Yan Jun watched this scene with his eyes wide open. He suddenly turned into a black stream of light like a madman and rushed into the fighting army. Then he started to kill wantonly. He only used the power of a high-tier deity level, so he was not punished by the Supreme Agreement. I'm sorry, my people. I was blind to trust these two traitors. We wouldn't have lost so badly if I didn't trust them. even if we couldn't defeat common people's regal. Yen Jun was extremely regretful. At the same time, the expression in his eyes and the actions in his hands became more and more ruthless and decisive. He could no longer change the current situation. What he could do was to rely on his own strength, to fight the enemy at the forefront of his clansmen. Even if the outcome of the battle was death, he would also die in front of the soldiers. He would never retreat, nor would he use his clansmen as a shield to disperse the firepower. As for surrendering, he had never thought about it. As the leader of the Yin Ghosts, he was unable to accept his actions of surrendering to the He race. That would make he feel unprecedented humiliation. It would make he feel sorry for the bloodline flowing in him, as well as for the entrustment and appointment of him by his ancestors. The Yin Ghost clan could have surrendered clansmen, but they could not have a patriarch who surrendered. As time passed, the wounds on his body increased, and his aura became weaker and weaker. Patriarch! Patriarch, don't! Patriarch, stop fighting! Let's surrender! Damn it, let's go all out! Even if our Yin Ghost clan doesn't enter the cycle of reincarnation, we will still kill a few Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers to die with us. The Yin Ghost clan soldiers were infected by Yen Jun's actions, and could not help but have the tragic and decisive thought of fighting to the death. With this thought in mind, their morale, which was originally at rock bottom, actually began to rise crazily at this moment. Not only did their morale quickly return to normal, it had even surpassed their usual peak morale, and reached an unprecedented height. The soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, who already had the absolute advantage on the battlefield, even vaguely felt that they could not suppress these Yin Ghost clan soldiers and god spirits, who had risked their lives to fight. However, the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom were far stronger and more powerful than the soldiers of the Yin Ghost clan, especially after Yen Jun, who was fighting with his life on the line, was pulled into the sword world that Qi Xiantian had created. Without Yen Jun's lead, these Yin Ghost clan soldiers were like headless flies that suddenly became chaotic. In the end, they were almost played by Bai Yi and the other generals, who were skilled in commanding soldiers, allowing the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom to once again occupy an absolute battlefield advantage. Zhou Zhou watched everything coldly. If he had not known and experienced the Yin Ghost clan stopping the humans from retreating to the primordial world, he might have praised Patriarch Yen Jun as a hero. However, it was precisely because he knew and experienced what he had done to the human race previously that he did not have any pity for Yen Jun's current actions. Instead, the killing intent in his heart intensified. An adversary that could exterminate an entire race? What kind of bullshit hero was he pretending to be? Not only did he want to completely conquer this land of the Yin Ghost clan, he also wanted to slaughter all the Yin Ghost clan members who were unwilling to surrender, including Yen Jun. Want to be a hero? The god of death Thanatos welcomes you. He secretly transmitted his order to Bai Yin. Kill all the members of the Dark Ghost clan who refused to surrender. After receiving Zhou Feit's order, Bai Yin immediately ordered coldly. Yes. The trillions of soldiers roared in unison and surged towards the Yin Ghost clan soldiers, who were isolated and helpless. By the time Yen Jun and Qi Xiantian, who were both injured, came out of the sword world, there were only a few Yin Ghost clan members who were still resisting in Yen Jun's eyes. Only the Yin Ghost clan members who were fighting hard with the Blazing Sun Kingdom were left. When King Yanluo saw this, he disregarded his injuries and the surrounding covetous gazes on him, as he floated in midair in a daze. During this period, one true god tier after another flew over from all directions and surrounded Yen Jun, not giving him any chance to escape. By the time he came back to his senses, he realized that there were already more than 100 true gods standing beside him. There was no escape. Yen Jun didn't want to escape anymore. He laughed bitterly. Then, he picked up the ghost god Earth's suppressing spear on his back, and looked at the surrounding true god tiers with fearless eyes. Come on! He roared at the hundreds of true god tiers. Boom 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 boom. Yen Jun died on the spot as countless true god tier attacked Yen Jun together. Well, clear out the remaining enemies, and clean up the battlefield. Then, well, go to the sky hidden race, and the Rakshasa race to collect the war resources. Bai Yin ordered. The soldiers did as they were told. Bai Yin transported Yin Jun's corpse and flew to Zhou. Your Majesty, the ghost god earth-suppressing spear in this guy's hand seems to be a true god-tier divine artifacts. Bai Yin stated respectfully. Put it down. Zhou nodded. Hearing this, Bai Yin put down Yin Jun's corpse, then took her leave and returned to the battlefield to continue leading the soldiers. Zhou looked at Yin Jun's corpse floating in front of him. With a thought, he activated the King of Lutes and the race divine artifact ability of the Lucky Star. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your lutes have been enhanced by the King of Lutes, Perfect Lutes. Grade +1. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of lutes increased by 150%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained a Perfect Lutes, 1,000 Divine Crystals, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 30 million Origin Crystals, 1 Lost Skill Netherworld Yellow River, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Lost Skill 10,000 Ghosts Roaring Soul, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Master God Tier Divine Artifact 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, Master God Tier Elementary Grade, 3 True God Tier Divine Artifacts Formless Ghost and God Armor, Master God Tier Elementary Grade, 3 True God Tier Divine Artifacts Soul Soothing Jades, True God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Yellow River Fairy Divine Spark Fragments, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Yellow River Water Divine Spark Fragments, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Hero Inheritance, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Book of the God Spirit, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 3 Yin Ghost Clan Bloodline, Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 1 Racial Building Blueprint, Yellow River Dockyard, unique to race. Lucky Star notification. You have obtained a special loot, the Yellow River Token, Master God Advanced Grade. Chapter 1136 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. Lord of the Netherworld's Inheritance. Zhou roughly looked at the number of loots. There were already more than 15,000 loots here, under the influence of the plus 150% loots. He did not look at the items below the true God tier level. He directly looked at the Master God tier treasures among them. Law Skill Name. Netherworld Yellow River. Law Skill Quality. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Introduction to Law Skill 1. After the user activates the Netherworld Yellow River, a Yellow River domain will form around the user. The Yellow River domain is divided into 2 parts, one of which is the Yellow River. The roads on both sides of the river are called the Yellow Springs Road. The overall strength of the living beings covered by the Yellow River domain will decrease by 20% to 100%, depending on their strength. The strength of their will decrease by an additional 20% to 100%, depending on their strength. Introduction to Law Skill 2, River of the Netherworld. If the living beings within the Netherworld domain are less than 1/10 of their total lifespan, the River of the Netherworld will welcome his exclusive fairy spirit. It will immediately lead this life form to the Netherworld. The moment it officially enters the Netherworld, it will lose its life and body and become a true dead person. Introduction to Law Skill 3, the Yellow River Path. If the living beings within the Yellow River domain still have more than 100 years of lifespan, the Yellow River Path will activate the power of the Yellow River Will, causing all such living beings to unconsciously wander on the Yellow River Path and gradually lose their lifespan. Only when their lifespan is about to end will they be fancied by the passing fairy spirit and personally sent to the Netherworld. Law Skill Name. 10,000 Ghost Souls. Law Skill Quality. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Law Skill Introduction. The user can control the law of ghosts and summon billions of vengeful ghosts from the Netherworld to attack the enemy's soul. There's a high chance of directly annihilating the other party's soul. Zhou could not help but click his tongue in wonder after reading it. Of these 2 Master God Tier law skills, one was a Master God Tier Advanced Grade law skill that directly attacked the soul, and the other was an extremely rare longevity law skill. This was the first time he had seen the latter. He didn't think too much about it. After learning it, he looked at the only Master God Tier divine artifact that Yin Jun had dropped. This Master God tier divine artifact was in the shape of a long spear. Overall, there didn't seem to be any connection at all. It was completely one. Its entire body was dark yellow and emitted an aura of final decay. The life form looked over and seemed to be able to see a vast yellow river from the spear. The river seemed to reflect his old age and death. There seemed to be countless dead souls buried under the river. Divine artifact name: 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. Divine artifact grade: Master God tier elementary grade. Divine artifact law 1, Netherworld sacred artifact. The 9 Netherworld spear was originally a strange rod that was left in the Netherworld by an object from outer space. Later, not only did it miraculously survive the corrosion of He by the Yellow River, it also absorbed the rules of the Yellow River and became a sacred object with the characteristics of the Yellow River law. The 9 Nether Yellow River spear had an extremely high restraining ability against ghosts. When using the 9 Nether Yellow River spear, it could cause 100 times the damage to any ghost. For living beings, when the 9 Netherworld Yellow Spring spear stabbed the other party, it could also melt the vitality in the other party's body, greatly reducing the other party's lifespan. Even a god spirit would have their own lifespan limit out of thin air after being stabbed by the 9 Netherworld Yellow Spring spear, and their lifespan would be greatly reduced. On the day of his death, an exclusive fairy spirit of the Yellow River will appear in front of him and lead him to the Netherworld to end his life and become a member of the Netherworld. Divine Artifact Law 2. Fall at the Yellow Springs. The user summons the phantom of the real Netherworld through the complete Netherworld law contained in the 9 Netherworld Yellow Springs spear. Any living being above the Yellow Springs will be affected by the characteristics of the Yellow Springs. They will fall uncontrollably into the phantom of the Yellow Springs. During this process, the phantom of the Yellow Springs will corrode all the corrosive things such as the life force, divine power, physical body, and soul of the corrosive person, until the corrosive person is completely corroded. They will die at the bottom of the Yellow Springs River and become a part of the Yellow Springs. Divine Artifact Law 3. Yellow River Domain. Through the complete Yellow River law contained in the 9 Nether Yellow River spear, the user can summon the phantom of the real Yellow River and surround himself, forming a Yellow River domain. Any attempt to attack the user would be severely corroded when they entered the Yellow River domain. Their attack power would be reduced by 10 to 50%. At the same time, the strength of living beings in the Yellow River domain will be reduced by 20%. The strength of the dead in the Yellow River domain will be reduced by 50%. Divine Artifact Law 4. 10,000 Ghosts Avoid. The 9 Nether Yellow River spear is famous in the Netherworld. Most of the dead will choose to stay away from living beings who possess the 9 Nether Yellow River spear. There are also a few fanatics who will follow the owner of the 9 Nether Yellow River spear. The powerful dead might choose to snatch the 9 Nether Yellow River spear and attack the user. Divine Artifact Law 5. Yellow River Law. The 9 Nether Yellow River spear contains the complete source of the Yellow River law. The owner of the Master God tier divine artifact can enter it with his soul and comprehend the mysteries of the Yellow River law at any time. Prompt: Will like Light Realm needs to recognize a master. After reading it, Zhou Fight nodded in surprise. It has an extremely high restraining ability against both life forms and the dead. This is a top-grade offensive Master God tier divine artifact. He lamented and felt that only the Great Lunar Extinction Lifeless Demonic Blade could surpass him among the Master God tier divine artifacts that he possessed. However, the Great Lunar Extinction Lifeless Demonic Blade was an intermediate grade Master God tier divine artifact. There was actually no comparison between the two. When I advance another step and can use an elementary grade Master God tier divine artifact normally through the king, you will most likely be my first Master God tier divine artifact. Zhou looked at the 9 Nether Yellow River lance with love in his eyes. Then, he looked at it for a long time before reluctantly putting it away. Then, he looked at the 2 Master God tier divine spark fragments. After reading it, he nodded slightly. The Master God tier law skills contained in the Yellow Stream Crossing, Divine Spark Fragment, and Yellow River Water, Divine Spark Fragment, were both very powerful Master God tier law skills. However, Zhou had seen many powerful Master God tier law skills, so he did not feel much. He looked at the Hero Legacy Secret Manual and Book of the God Spirit of the Master God tier advanced grade. Treasure name: Hero Legacy Secret Manual. Grade: Master God tier advanced grade. Treasure ability: after using it, you can obtain the Yellow Stream Patriarch's Narrow's Hero Inheritance. Introduction. My children, lead the guests to eternity. The Golden Stream Patriarch. Narrow. Treasure name: Book of the God Spirit. Treasure grade: Master God tier advanced grade. Treasure effect: a mythical book that records the path of Narrow becoming a god. After using it, one can walk the path of becoming the Lord of the Yellow River. Treasure description: Book of God Inheritance. After using it, you can walk on a smooth path to becoming a god. But whether you can really become a god in the end depends on the user himself. Indeed, looking at the introduction of the nomological techniques, I guess that the Book of the God Spirit and the Hero Legacy Secret Manual are the inheritances of Lord of the Yellow River. That's indeed the case now that I look at it. Zhou Fai nodded. Chapter 1137 Zhang En and Xiao Xian, the Invincible God Emperor. Zhou Fai liked this God Spirit inheritance very much. This was the Master God tier inheritance that was known by the myriad worlds as second only to the God of Death Thanatos, Master God Narrow after all. One could imagine how precious it was. Next, he could reward it to a subordinate with outstanding potential, and let him embark on the path of becoming the Master God tier of the Law of Death. This way, when Lord of the Yellow River came to inspect his Yellow River crystal mine in the future, he might be able to use this relationship to appease the other party's possible anger. Of course, it didn't matter if it couldn't be appeased. With the Supreme Agreement and the God of War behind him, he really wasn't afraid of this Lord of the Yellow River. He thought for a moment, and soon, a suitable candidate for this top Master God tier inheritance appeared in his mind. His good friend, the Guardian of Death Zhang En. This little kid had been blessed by the Law of Death to begin with. He had extremely high nomological talent in the Law of Death. Coupled with the enhancement of various talents and treasures, his potential had also increased to the Master God tier level. This inheritance of the Lord of the Yellow River was just right for Zhang En. At this thought, Zhou Fai sent a soldier to call Zhang En over. A moment later, Zhang En and Xiao Xian arrived in front of Zhou Fai. "Greetings, Your Majesty," the two of them said respectfully, and led the way. Zhou Fai looked at their more mature appearance and temperament than the first time he saw them. He could not help but feel inexplicably gratified to see his children grow up. "So this is for you." Zhou Fai smiled, and threw Lord of the Yellow River's Book of the God Spirit and Hero Inheritance Secret Manual in front of Zhang En. Zhang En took the two books with a blank expression. When he saw that they were the legacy of the Lord of the Yellow River, he immediately trembled. The legacy of His Excellency the Lord of the Yellow River? Zhang En was pleasantly surprised, excited, and in disbelief. Zhou Fai nodded with a faint smile. "Use it well. Don't let this legacy down." Your Majesty, is this really for me?" Zhang En looked at Zhou in disbelief. This was one of the top Master God tier inheritances in the myriad worlds. Giving it to him was equivalent to giving him a path to becoming a clan-protecting expert. As long as he grasped the contents of these two God Spirit inheritances and the Hero Inheritance step by step, there was a high chance that he would become another Master God tier expert in the future. In this era where the Supreme God realm did not appear, a Master God tier was definitely the most deserving super expert. His Majesty gave it to him so easily. He felt like he was dreaming. "If it's not for you, who else could it be for?" Zhou Fai said angrily. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will die for Your Majesty," Zhang En said excitedly. He was no longer he when he was young. He, who had seen a lot and had now become a mid-tier deity-level God Spirit, naturally knew how precious this Master God tier inheritance was. That was why he was even more grateful to His Majesty for rewarding him. After that, Zhou Fai didn't leave Zhang En behind and let him leave. However, Xiao Xian did not leave after Zhang En left. "Your Majesty, only Zhang En gets something?" Xiao Xian looked at Zhou Feit eagerly. Zhou Feit found it interesting, but he pretended to be puzzled. Didn't this king already instruct Wuxia to open up all the browsing rights of overlord martial arts to you? What is wrong? Isn't a top-notch master god tier advanced grade martial arts inheritance, overlord martial arts enough? You've learned everything? I haven't learned it yet. A guilty expression flashed across Xiao Xian's face. He could barely understand the contents of the God Spirit section of the overlord martial arts. However, when he began to learn the God Spirit section, he couldn't even understand it, let alone begin. One had to know that he was already a mid-tier deity-level elementary grade God Spirit. He could already learn the contents of the God Spirit chapter, but he still couldn't understand it. To Xiao Xian, who had always been known as a genius in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, this made he feel a great sense of defeat. However, it was precisely because of this that he was now very eager to obtain a Master God tier inheritance. This was because it was beneficial for he to understand the profound content of the overlord martial arts. Zhou Feit saw through the other party's thoughts at a glance and stopped teasing him. You want the overlord God's book of the God Spirit and the hero inheritance, right? Your Majesty is wise. Xiao Xian prostrated himself respectfully and couldn't help but feel joyful in his heart. Since His Majesty had already said this, he should be giving these 2 inheritance rewards to me, right? I have other uses for these 2 inheritances. I don't plan to give them to you. Zhou Feit shook his head. The corners of Xiao Xian's lips, which had already curled up, suddenly stiffened. Then he respectfully said, I understand. He was a very obedient child. Since His Majesty had given it to him, he had to be grateful. If His Majesty didn't give it to him, His Majesty was also the person closest to him. He wouldn't hate him because of this. Therefore, even though he was a little disappointed and regretful, he didn't intend to continue asking for it. Wasn't it just the overlord martial arts? With his unparalleled talent, he could at most gnaw on this inheritance for a while longer. He would be able to learn it sooner or later. In addition, I also have other expectations for you. Based on this expectation, I don't plan to give you the overlord God's inheritance. At this moment, Zhou Feit continued. What do you anticipate from me, Your Majesty? Xiao Xian asked curiously. My first wish is naturally for you to live a happy life. The second expectation is the expectation of your path as a God Spirit. Do you know about the invincible God Emperor? Zhou Feit asked. The invincible God Emperor? Xiao Xian was confused. Divine Emperor is the honorific title of the Supreme God realm. It means that the other party has reached the end of the path of a God Spirit. Beyond that is an even more mystical will-level existence. And the invincible God Emperor is the strongest Supreme God realm in the current myriad worlds. The strongest God Spirit below the existence of will. Zhou Feit revealed this shocking secret. Xiao Xian allowed out an ah as shock and envy appeared in his eyes. In the name of invincibility, wasn't this too domineering? Zhou Feit continued. Ever since the invincible God Emperor stepped onto the path of extraordinary tier, he has encountered all kinds of powerful enemies along the way. However, he has never lost. I've never lost a single match. With this invincible momentum, his realm rose all the way, and he also challenged all kinds of enemies. Until now, when he reached the Supreme God realm, he has never been defeated. The name Invincible wasn't given to him by he. Instead, it was given to him by the enemies he defeated, and the gods who had heard of his battle achievements. Apart from his life experience of never losing, he has another feat that few people comprehend about. That is, he has never received the inheritance of other god spirits. In other words, his deity path was forcefully forged by himself. Xiao Xian, you are born with the immortal martial sacred body. You are extremely appropriate to walk the path of an invincible god emperor. Xiao Xian, you are born with the immortal martial sacred body. You are extremely appropriate to walk the path of an invincible god emperor. Zhou Feit said. Xiao Xian nodded. He had indeed never lost to anyone of the same level. He had never even lost in battles above his level. Most importantly, he never challenged an enemy that he wasn't self-assured in. For example, he was now a mid-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirit. He had challenged high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, but he had never challenged true god-tier god spirits. Talented people had self-awareness and only fought with confidence. This kind of fighting style that was similar to his lord's personality was the most important reason why he remained undefeated. However, he contemplated of something and revealed a hesitant expression. Are you worried about the master god tier inheritance you received previously? Zhou Feit saw through his thoughts at a glance and asked with a faint smile. Xiao Xian immediately nodded vigorously when he heard this. This was what he was worried about. Chapter 1138 Absorbing the Yin Ghost Clan's Bloodline. Yellow River Dockyard and the Yellow River Fish. Zhou Feit could tell what he was thinking and said, "Don't worry. This king knows that you have received other master god tier inheritances, but this king can resolve this matter." He flipped his right hand and saw a dejected pearl appear in his palm. Xiao Xian subconsciously looked over. Treasure name: Memory Sealing Pearl. Treasure grade: Special tier, Treasure effect. After recognizing its master, the owner can choose to seal a portion of their memories into the memory sealing pearl, causing the owner to temporarily forget a portion of their memories. If you want to recover your memories, you only need to absorb the memories in the memory sealing pearl again. Treasure description: a pearl that can seal memories, allowing life forms to forget the past that they don't want to remember. There's actually such a treasure. When Xiao Xian saw the information about this pearl, he immediately became excited. Zhou Feit could not help but smile when he saw him acting this way. He placed the memory-sealing pearl in his palm and looked at him. Have you decided to continue on your own Master God tier path? Or have you decided to walk the path of that invincible God Emperor? He asked. I want to walk the path of the invincible God Emperor. Xiao Xian replied without any hesitation. Sure. Upon hearing this, Zhou Feit did not say much, and directly threw the memory-sealing pearl in his hand to him. Xiao Xian hurriedly caught it, as if it was an extremely precious treasure. Remember, you have to be meticulous when sealing memories. Don't accidentally seal memories you don't want to seal. Otherwise, it will severely affect your future path as a god spirit. After you're done sealing it, come and see this king. This king will help you check. Zhou Feit said. He was in existence at the will-like light realm. It was very difficult for others to check if his memories were complete. To him, it was as simple as observing the fine lines on his palm. Thank you, Your Majesty, Xiao Xian said gratefully. Then I'll take my leave. When I return, I'll immediately use this memory-sealing pearl. He said firmly. Zhou Feit nodded slightly. When he saw this, he was about to leave. Just as he was about to fly away, Zhou Feit's voice suddenly sounded in his ears. If you want to become an invincible God Emperor, you will have to challenge all the powerful beings in the universe. This king understands your personality and knows that you won't randomly choose your opponent. But this king will still give you a piece of advice. This advice is, the last one to challenge would be this king. Zhou Feit said. Xiao Xian's body stiffened. Then he smiled bitterly in his heart and said respectfully, Yes, Your Majesty. Then, he took his leave. As he left, he thought, Challenge His Majesty? I'd be crazy to challenge His Majesty. Xiao Xian muttered. The terror of His Majesty was now known to all races. As His Majesty's favorite child, how could he not know? He shook his head and looked at the memory-sealing pearl in his hand with a smile. I can definitely become an invincible God Emperor. The #1 invincible God Emperor in the world. Yes, His Majesty is out of this world. Xiao Xian nodded and left while humming a tune. Zhou Feit did not pay attention to Xiao Xian who had left. Otherwise, if he knew what Xiao Xian had uttered before he left, he would definitely wonder if he had made the right choice to give him the memory-sealing pearl. At this moment, he was looking at the Yin Ghost clan bloodline in his hand. He took a few glances and directly chose to fuse with his Chaos Human bloodline. You have absorbed one Yin Ghost clan bloodline, Master God tier advanced grade. Your Chaos Human bloodline has been unearthed with more potential. Your sixth senses powers have been greatly enhanced. Your parapsychic ability has been greatly enhanced. The strength of your soul has increased greatly. You have awakened the talent of the Master God advanced grade. Enhanceable Een Ghost Clan. Een Ghost Divine Body. You have awakened a Master God Advanced Grade. Enhanceable Een Ghost Clan Race Talent. Great Lunar Chi Gathering. You have awakened the talent of Master God Tier Advanced Grade. You have awakened the talent of the Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Enhanceable Een Ghost Clan. Master God Tier Advanced Grade Soul Attack. You have grasped the Een Ghost Clan's common sense inheritance. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the Een Ghost Clan. You have comprehended the will of the Ghost God. Will like Light Realm. Zhou Fight closed his eyes and quietly accepted the Een Ghost Clan's bloodline inheritance. A moment later, only then did he open his eyes. He heaved a sigh of relief before a look of joy appeared on his face. As expected of a Master God Tier bloodline, it actually even gave a complete will inheritance. Even though it's only at the will like light level, it's just right for me. I feel like I'm about to reach the will divine transformation realm. Zhou Fight thought to himself. Normally speaking, the cultivation of wills was extremely slow. It was impossible for him to advance so quickly. However, he had always obtained too many will inheritances. All kinds of will inheritances corroborated and contrasted with each other, allowing his comprehension of will to advance by leaps and bounds. Now with the push of this Ghost God's will, his will was about to reach the will divine transformation realm. However, my strength and realm have to increase a little more. Otherwise, my divine body and soul might not be able to accommodate such a powerful will. Zhou Fight pondered. The divine body and divine soul were like houses, and the willpower was like a person living in a house. If an elephant lived in a house, let alone a normal house, even letting an elephant into a house might cause the house to collapse. Then, he stopped thinking and glanced at the race's building blueprint loots. Not surprisingly, this should have been dropped by his mythical tier, unique lord talent, the Great Country Project. Building blueprint name, Yellow River Dockyard, building blueprint level, race construction, building blueprint effect 1, Netherworld Ferry. The owner of the Yellow River Dockyard can create the Netherworld ship and recruit the Netherworld Fairy Spirit. The Netherworld Fairy Spirit can control the Netherworld Fairy Spirit to lead the souls of other life forms to the Netherworld freely. It can also use this as a profession to increase its strength. Building Blueprint Effect 2, Yellow Spring Fisherman. The owner of the Yellow River Dockyard can summon the dead to change their profession to a special lifestyle professionals. The Yellow Spring Fisherman can fish for the Yellow Spring fish in the Yellow Spring River. Eating the Yellow Spring fish can increase the potential of the dead soul. When it is raised to the extreme, the consumer will awaken a will power suitable for them from the depths of their soul, and automatically enter the will-like light realm. Building Blueprint Effect 3, Yellow Springs Protection. The dead from the Yellow River Dockyard will be protected by the will of the Yellow Springs. They can freely pass through the Yellow Springs without drowning in it. Building Blueprint Description. A race's building blueprint from the Yellow River. The builder and participant will be protected by the Yellow River. Zhou Fight only took a glance, and his gaze immediately fell on the effect of Building Blueprint 2. There's Yellow River fish in the Yellow River. Continuous consumption of Yellow River fish can awaken a will power that is suitable for me, and I can directly reach the will-like light realm. This. Zhou Fight could not believe it. Chapter 1139 Lord of the Yellow River Sudden Arrival. Yellow Spring Calamity. It was very difficult to comprehend willpower. They knew very well as a god spirit, who knew the concept of willpower. The most obvious example was Uriel. He could be said to be the most talented member of the Titan god race, as the master god tier seed of the Titan god race. However, he was stuck at the comprehension of his will, unable to break through. Otherwise, he would have long become a master god tier. It could be seen how difficult it was to comprehend willpower. This was the first time he had seen the saying that one could comprehend the power of will by eating fish. If Uriel were to come back to life and find out about this, who knew what his expression would be? This Yellow River Dockyard must be built. Build it now. In the future, whether there would be any master god tier experts in his territory would probably depend on the Yellow River fish, the Book of the God Spirit, and the Hero Inheritance Manual. Zhou Fight did not waste any time. He directly threw it into the king's treasure box, and asked his main body, Zhou Zhou, to hand it to Zhao Changshou and the others, so that they could build it as soon as possible. With the unique mythical tier lord talent the Great Country project, he should be able to see this racial building in less than 2 days. After doing all this, he looked at the last loots. Treasure name, Yellow River token, treasure grade, special tier, treasure effect. A supreme holy token that represents the identity of the will of the netherworld. Living beings who possess he can have an extremely high status and authority in the netherworld. Any life form of the netherworld must respect the owner of the Yellow River token, or they will be punished by the will of the netherworld. Treasure introduction. A Yellow River token personally created by the will of the netherworld. Living beings with him will automatically become the spokesperson of the will of the netherworld and have a pivotal position in the netherworld. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened. He could actually become the spokesperson of the will with this Yellow River token? Didn't that mean that even the Supreme God Realm might have to be polite to him? The spokesperson? Supreme God Realms were weaker than wills in terms of strength after all. Even though this spokesperson identity was only useful in the netherworld, there was a high chance that other existences would not recognize this spokesperson identity outside the netherworld. However, being useful in the netherworld was already not bad. Zhou Fight nodded in satisfaction. Then, he recalled the existence of Yellow River's will. According to the original spirit race bloodline inheritance I have, the will of Yellow River is a special will that is attached to the will of the netherworld. However, even though they rely on each other, the Yellow River and the netherworld are actually very important to each other. They're related to each other. If I go to the netherworld in the future, be it the Yellow River dockyard or the Yellow River token, they will be of great help to me. Zhou Fight muttered to himself. In addition, he also learned something from the Ying Ghost clan's bloodline inheritance. That was, there were also human lords on Cerulean Planet in the netherworld. If he wanted to lead all the lords of Cerulean Planet in the future, he would have to make a trip to the netherworld through the Yellow River. At that time, the Yellow River dockyard and the Yellow River token would play a very important role. He put away the Yellow River token. Then, he looked up, his gaze slightly focused. A yellow-robed figure had appeared in front of him at some point in time. He had his back facing him, but just by looking at his back, he could sense the endless sense of death, decay emanating from him. An illusory Yellow River phantom surrounded he, making he look even more dignified and mysterious, even a little terrifying. Zhou Fight had some guesses. Then he stood up calmly and said politely, "Greetings, Your Excellency Lord of the Yellow River." Common people's regal. The Lord of the Yellow River did not turn around. His back was still facing Zhou Fight as he said, "I'm here for the yellow spring aura on your body." Zhou Fight raised his eyebrows. He thought for a moment and waved his right hand. The Yellow River token, the Yellow River dockyard's building blueprint, and the 9 nether Yellow River spear appeared in front of him. There was nothing to hide in front of such an existence. Therefore, he chose to reveal everything. The 9 nether Yellow River spear. The Lord of the Yellow River said with a complicated tone, "I've been guarding this Master God tier divine artifact for 100,000 years, because I wanted to wait for it to completely grow into a true Master God tier divine artifact for my use. In the end, just now the embryo of this Master God tier artifact suddenly disappeared. By the time I sense its aura again, he appeared by your side, and has already grown into a complete body. Lord's Law, as expected of the King of Dharma. It really has the unbelievable power to command all things in the world." Zhou Fight did not show any emotions on the surface, but he was rather stunned in his heart. This 9 nether Yellow River spear actually had such a background. He had actually intercepted the treasures that others guarded, and wanted to use for him in advance. He calmed down and asked, "Your Excellency, are you going to take this 9 nether Yellow River spear away? Treasures have spirits. Life forms seek treasures. Treasures also seek their owners. Even though I've guarded this 9 nether Yellow River spear for 100,000 years, I am not destined to possess it since it abandoned me in the end and entered the arms of a regal. Therefore, This 9 Nether Yellow River Spear is yours. I won't force it. However, a war calamity has descended on the Yellow River. I don't have a suitable Master God tier divine artifact. I'm afraid I won't be able to protect the Yellow River if I rely on my Permethos Serene Flower alone. At that time, the Yellow River will fall, and the dead of the myriad worlds will lose their guidance and be unable to enter the netherworld normally. Then, the myriad worlds will probably be in chaos. Therefore, I want to lend this 9 Nether Yellow River Spear from you and fight alongside me to resist the Scarlet Invasion. I'm not saying this to threaten you. I just want to introduce the situation. If you're willing to lend me the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, I can remove the restrictions on the Netherworld Divine Mountain and give you the Yellow River Crystal Mine. You have the blueprint for the Yellow River Dockyard. If you want to build it in the future, the Yellow Spring Crystal is indispensable. Common People's Regal, Lord of the Yellow River said, "Are you willing to lend me this 9 Nether Yellow River Spear? I don't think I have any reason to refuse. However, the bargaining chip that Your Excellency proposed does tempt me. There's no harm in lending this 9 Nether Yellow River Spear to Your Excellency." Zhou said. He had a thought after he finished speaking. The 9 Nether Yellow River Spear in front of him gradually disappeared and then appeared beside Lord of the Yellow River. The Lord of the Yellow River extended his hand. The 9 Nether Yellow River Spear slowly approached his hand and finally landed in his palm. He gazed reluctant. Lord of the Yellow River sighed faintly. When Zhou saw this scene, he recalled that the other party possessed uttered that he had guarded the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear for 100,000 years. His expression could not help but be slightly strange. As for lending the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear to the other party, Zhou did not feel much. That was because he did not stop the ownership. This 9 Nether Yellow River Spear still belonged to him. He was only temporarily borrowing the Lord of the Yellow River. He could even cross time and space with a pondered and instantly summon this Master God tier divine artifact back. Since that was the case, why not lend it to him in exchange for the Yellow River Crystal Mine he mentioned? Just as Lord of the Yellow River possessed said, the Yellow River Crystal Mine was indeed an indispensable material if he desired to build the Yellow River Dockyard. "Thank you, Your Excellency." The Lord of the Yellow River did not think too much about it and uttered politely. Then, his divine body gradually disappeared from the spot, leaving only a sentence that echoed in Zhou ears. "You can come to my Yellow River Shrine as a guest after your Yellow River Dockyard is built, Regal. When the time comes, I'll definitely meet Your Excellency," Zhou said. Chapter 1140 Taking over the resources of the three races. Yarrow Scarlet Empire. After Zhou confirmed that the other party had left, he looked at the construction blueprint of the Yellow River Dockyard and the Yellow River token in front of him. It seems that these two things are not particularly precious treasures to the Lord of the Yellow River. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ignored them. That's true. He's the Lord of the Yellow River, the top existence above the Yellow Spring. Perhaps he already has these two things. Naturally, he's not interested in them. Zhou shook his head. Then, he put the two treasures back into his king's treasure box. More than 2 hours later, Bai Yin had already led the army to clean up the battlefield and collected the resources of the Yin Ghost clan. They went straight to the Rakshasa and Heaven Hidden clan to receive the resources that the two races had long prepared after that. Xiaofeng and Xuechen had no complaints about this. As a race that chose to surrender, they were already prepared to face such a thing. What's more, they were only handing over a portion of their race's resources, not all of them. Their daily expenses were not a problem. This little sacrifice was much better than the Ingos clan, where almost half of their race had been wiped out. After collecting the resources of the three races, Zhou immediately ordered Wunya to fly towards the territory of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. The Yarrow Scarlet Empire was originally the territory of a Tier 3 Empire Tier Lord faction of the White Dragon race. As a Tier 3 Empire Tier Lord faction, they had 3 True God tiers as their own True God tiers. Such an Empire Tier Lord faction could be considered extremely outstanding among the many Empire Tier Lord factions in the Supreme Continent. However, in front of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire, which was also a Tier 3 Empire Tier Lord faction, they were destroyed under their scarlet iron hooves in less than 5 days. This was because the Yarrow Scarlet Empire had a total of 10 Scarlet True God tiers. The White Dragon race's Empire Tier Lord faction was unable to resist the suppression of the 10 Scarlet True God tiers and completely perished. The Yarrow Scarlet Empire established a new Yarrow Scarlet Empire in this territory and began to launch an invasion. In less than 3 days, they had taken down a Tier 1 Empire Tier Lord faction and a Tier 2 Empire Tier Lord faction in succession. At this moment, in the imperial capital of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire, Yarrow Chijins, who was wearing a scarlet imperial robe, was sitting on the emperor's throne. He looked down at the scarlet generals below and reported the situation of the battle over the past 2 days to him. Big brother Ronnie has already attacked the Mengmo Empire. He has broken through the first defense line of the Mengmo Empire and is attacking the second defense line. Agent Yas has assassinated the ruler of the Xianlai Empire. Currently, the imperial court of the Xianlai Empire is in turmoil. All the royal families are fighting for the power of the next emperor. Our Chamber of Commerce has already invaded the 5 surrounding Empire Tier Lord factions and has already established an initial intelligence network. We can continuously send information about the Lord factions to us. Yarrow Chijins nodded slightly. Do you have any information on that human regal? He suddenly asked. I just received news that the human race's common people's regal has already led troops to the Een Ghost clan's territory. It's said that the leader of the Een Ghost race has already joined forces with the Heaven Hidden race and the Rakshasa race to prepare to resist the common people's regal's attack. We haven't received any further information yet. The general who reported the information said truthfully, the 3 race-level forces joined forces just to resist the attack of a kingdom-level lord. A mocking smile appeared on Yarrow Chijin's face. This is really an eye-opener for me. More than 10,000 years ago, when my father followed the Scarlet Divine Kingdom to attack the High Continent, the lords of the High Continent were not that weak. An illusory life race also appeared. They joined forces with the lords and races of the High Continent to force us back. It's only been more than 10,000 years, and the races of the Supreme Continent are actually so weak. It seems that the unfinished business of Godfather back then will be completed in my hands. Yarrow Chijin said calmly. He was the eldest son of Yarrow Scarlet Empire's Almighty Yarrow. His own strength was at the True God tier elementary grade. The current Yarrow Scarlet Empire that he ruled was a subsidiary empire that he had specially established to train him. Even though the Divine Kingdom lords behind Yarrow Chijins couldn't enter the tribulation of the 10,000 races personally, it wasn't a problem for them to send out their own Scarlet Empire tier lords. Thus, Yarrow Chijins and the other 11 descendants of Yarrow Chijins, who were also the younger siblings of Yarrow Chijins, followed their father's orders and came to this high continent to participate in the tribulation of 10,000 races. As for the reason why he suddenly asked about Zhou, it was because the Blazing Sun Kingdom led by Zhou was an important target for their tribulation. Even the Crimson Overlord had personally issued a decree. He desired to prioritize killing common people's regal in addition to completing the goal of the tribulation of 10,000 races. He wanted to stop the development of the Supreme Will and deal a ruthless blow to the 10,000 races contest. A target that could be individually mentioned by Your Excellency Crimson Overlord was naturally valued by many invading lords of the Scarlet Empire. Yarrow Chijins was no exception. They all knew that since the Crimson Overlord had specially mentioned it, as long as he killed the common people's regal, he would definitely enter the eyes of the Crimson Overlord and be valued or even nurtured. Even if he could not obtain these, it would be a huge gain to be familiar with the Crimson Overlord. Just as Chijins was fantasizing about how he would destroy the common people's regal in the future and gain the Crimson Overlord's attention, the general who reported the information solemnly said, Your Majesty, according to the intelligence gathered by us, the reason why the common people's regal was able to attract the joint resistance of the Een Ghost clan and the other 3 clans is because the other party indeed has the power to destroy them. Previously, the Master God tier seed of the Titans, Uriel, and the people of foreign races led by him were destroyed in the hands of the common people's regal. This news has also been verified to be true. Your Majesty, you must not be careless. You cannot underestimate the common people's regal. Everyone who can attain the status of regal since chaotic era became prime existences in the myriad worlds. Even if this common people's regal is from the human race, we can't underestimate him. Got it, got it. Chijins waved his hand impatiently. He was just saying that he desired to think about it. He wasn't going to look for him now. He was now steadily taking over the surrounding Empire tier Lord factions and Kingdom level Lord factions after all. It was already enough for him to be busy. He would only possess designs on Zhou after he had completely stabilized the region he had just formed and took root in the High Continent. Even though he had an arrogant personality, he was not a bore or a fool. In addition, the Scarlet Holy Son of the Chaos Scarlet Empire, who was in charge of invading the High Continent, was also very interested in Zhou. He had to think of a way to avoid the attention of that person if he desired to deal with Zhou now. Chapter 1141 Yarrow Chijin's Terror. Killed with one arrow. Yarrow Chijins couldn't help but feel jealous when he thought about the Scarlet Holy Sun. If the common people's regal was the strongest lord of all races in the Supreme Will's camp, in that case, the Scarlet Holy Sun was the strongest Scarlet Lord in their Scarlet camp. No Scarlet Lord was a match for the Scarlet Holy Sun. On the other side, when this general saw that His Majesty had listened to his suggestion, he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that His Majesty would have the confidence to find trouble with the other party, just because he had rarely lost and led a Scarlet Empire. If something bad were to happen, he wouldn't be able to go back and answer to Master Yarrow. At this moment, a Scarlet Guard suddenly walked in from outside the palace and said in panic, "Your Majesty, just now, there were 10,000 unknown spaceships that have suddenly descended above our capital. More than 6 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers have emerged from them. They are already in the troop arrangement above the imperial capital. They might attack us at any time." The entire palace fell silent as he finished speaking. Yarrow Chijins was confused. He had yet to recover from his shock. Only the general who reported the information reacted immediately, and his expression suddenly changed. Over 6 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 true god tiers, and more than 100 true god tiers. Which powerful Divine Kingdom Lord faction attacked us? Damn it, aren't they afraid of being killed by the Supreme Agreement? He said in disbelief. The other party doesn't seem to be a Divine Kingdom Lord faction. The Scarlet Guard whispered. Could it be a Super Empire Tier Lord faction? The general frowned. However, no matter how powerful a Super Empire Tier Lord faction was, it shouldn't be so powerful, right? With such a powerful army and so many gods, why would they still stay in the Empire stage if they directly established a Divine Kingdom? It's not an Empire Tier Lord faction either. According to our scouts, the other party seems to be a Kingdom-level Lord faction. The Scarlet Guard said truthfully, a Kingdom-level Lord faction? How is that possible? Wait, Blazing Sun Kingdom. The Blazing Sun Kingdom is looking for us? The general said with wide eyes. In the myriad worlds, other than the common people's regal's Blazing Sun Kingdom, he couldn't think of anyone else who could accumulate such a force at the Kingdom-level Lord level. The Blazing Sun Kingdom of the common people's regal? When Yarrow Chijins heard this, he finally reacted. He had always wanted to deal with the enemy. He hadn't even gone to look for the other party, but the other party had already come knocking on his door. At this moment, he should have been excited and looking forward to it. However, after hearing the information about the Scarlet Guardians, he felt very uneasy. He didn't feel excited at all. 6 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers. How can there be such a ridiculous kingdom-level lord faction in the myriad worlds? And it's the lords of all races participating in the Lord of all races contest. Impossible. That's impossible, Yarrow Chiggins muttered to himself. Then, he suddenly turned into a stream of light and rushed out of his imperial palace. He arrived under the sky outside. Then, he looked up. The next second, his divine body suddenly trembled. Then, like a sieve, he trembled uncontrollably. In the sky 100,000 meters away, more than 6 trillion soldiers stood in the sky. The vast sky was completely blocked by the trillions of soldiers. It was not an exaggeration to say that it could cover the sky and sun here. The light of the sun star could not even shine through the bodies of the soldiers. At this moment, the only light in the sky was the magic power light emitted by the soldiers, heroes, and god spirits of the blazing sun kingdom, as well as the light emitted by equipment and divine artifacts. They stared coldly at the scarlet monsters below. At this moment, their gazes were like billions of kilograms of boulders, pressing down on all the scarlet monsters of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire until they could not breathe. Even Yarrow Chiggins, the son of the Master God Tyr, wasn't able to help but breathe faster. He wasn't able to imagine all of this. It was even harder to accept all of this when what they stated was actually true. Was the Lord of the Common People's regal really that terrifying? The pressure from the soldiers alone made he feel unable to resist and powerless. If that regal appeared in front of him, he wasn't able to even imagine what embarrassing things he would do. Thinking of his own strength, he couldn't help but feel even more terrified. He was at the true god tier level, but in front of more than 100 true god tiers, he seemed so helpless. As for his 800 billion scarlet soldiers, 2,000 scarlet life forms, and 10 scarlet true god tiers, they seemed insignificant in front of the other party's army. At this moment, Bai Yun's voice resounded throughout the entire Yarrow Scarlet Empire. We are the army of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. If you can see the difference between you and our army, it's best if you know what's good for you to surrender. His Majesty has spoken. Surrender and I will not kill you. Those who don't capitulate must be killed. Towards the end, Bai Yun's voice was filled with coldness. The entire Yarrow Scarlet Empire fell silent. Many intelligent scarlet monsters had some thoughts at this moment. Yarrow Chiggins was the same. However, he quickly cut off this thought. The creatures of the Supreme Wool Camp and the monsters of the Crimson Overlord Camp had been enemies since ancient times. Surrender and he'll live? How can it be that simple? He would rather risk his life in despair than trust in his enemy's benevolence. All the soldiers and god spirits of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. Yarrow spoke, his voice resounding in the ears of all the scarlet monsters. Don't trust his false words. They just want to save some effort when they kill us. If you really want to live, you have to fight your way out. This is our only choice. This is the choice of the warriors of the Scarlet Empire. All soldiers and god spirits, listen up. From now on, we will fight without restrictions. As long as we can fight our way out and survive, I swear in the name of the eldest son of the Divine Kingdom, that I will make up for all your losses. Kill. Yarrow was the first to take out a true god tier intermediate grade divine artifact bow from his world ring. Then he drew the bow and arrow, pointing the tip of the sword at Bai Yun, who was standing at the front. Whoosh! The bow was like a thunderbolt. The arrow that he shot out transformed into a purple divine light that pierced through the air and shattered the space along the way. It opened up a pitch-black path and shot towards Bai Yun. Bai Yun drew her bow calmly. Boom! Under the influence of the battle formation rule, billions of soldiers, heroes, and even god spirits surged into his divine body and entered his true god tier elementary grade divine artifact bow and arrow. Whoosh! A faint golden arrow shot out. The two arrows collided in the blink of an eye. Then, they entered the depths of the exploded spatial mezzanine at the same time, and caused a huge explosion in the depths of the space. Then, a light golden arrow sprinted out of the explosion range, and then out of the interlayer of space. It surfaced in the real world, and pierced through Yarrow Chiggins, who didn't react in time. Yarrow Chiggins stared blankly at the light golden arrow embedded in his chest. Boom! The unparalleled nomological power of the military formation silently erupted from his body. In the blink of an eye, his divine body and soul were destroyed, and his divine spark was shattered. The aura on Yarrow Chiggins' body quickly weakened and finally disappeared. He was dead. Chapter 1142 King of Kings Event Notification. Zhou fights decision. Yarrow Chijins originally wanted to use this arrow to encourage his soldiers and motivate them to fight, but Bai Yun's counterattack was too fast and fierce. He died under Bai Yun's swift and violent counterattack before he could react. He never expected this either. He didn't even see that common people's regal before he died at the hands of his subordinates. What? The general who had just flown out of the palace was stunned when he saw this scene. There was only one thought left in his mind. It's over. Yarrow Chijins was the eldest son of Lord Yarrow. In the future, he would inherit the divine kingdom. He had come to the high continent to participate in the tribulation of all races to increase his resume in the future. He never expected he to perish here. Even his younger siblings had tacitly agreed that they wouldn't have a chance to compete with their elder brother in the future. They had already chosen to lie flat in this invasion war, and didn't make any efforts to fight for the throne. This was timely. The situation had changed. Yarrow Chijins was dead. The future of the divine kingdom became confusing again. However, that was not the most important thing. Most importantly, after Yarrow Chijins died, God Lord Yarrow would definitely be furious when he found out about this. As the designated guardian of Yarrow Chijins, he would definitely not be able to survive when he returned to face God Lord Yarrow's anger. What should I do? He panicked. At this moment, he thought of what Bai Yin had just said. Those who surrender will not be killed. He struggled for a few seconds before his eyes quickly became firm. This battle, which had a huge disparity in strength, did not last long. The Blazing Sun Kingdom won at an astonishing speed. Just as Bai Yin and the others took down the Yarrow Scarlet Empire, a line of text suddenly appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. You have led your territory's soldiers to destroy the Yarrow Scarlet Empire in this King of 10,000 Kings event. You have attacked the invasion of the Scarlet Lord camp and made a major contribution to this King of 10,000 Kings event. You have been rewarded with 10 bottles of Potential Advancement Potion, True God Advance Grade, 10 books of the God Spirit, True God Advance Grade, 10 Hero Inheritance Secret Manuals, True God Tier, 1 True God Invitation Letter, 1,000 Divine Crystals, True God Advance Grade, 1 Exclusive Human Race Building Blueprint, and 1 Battle Resurrection Scroll. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. You have obtained the achievement Scarlet Beheader, High-Tier Deity Level. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. You have obtained an unique achievement, the Unveiling of Victory, Special Level. Crimson Empire Destroyer, True God Tier 500 million Universal General Faction Points. Victory Unveiled, Special Level Value 1 billion Universal General Faction Points. King of 10,000 Kings Event Hint. Your magnificent feat of eliminating the Crimson Overlord has opened the prelude to repelling the Crimson Overlord's invasion. When you defeat all the 100 high-level Scarlet Empire tier lords led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire, this King of 10,000 Kings event will end completely. At the same time, as long as you obtain 50% of the contribution points in this Empire-level war, and in this King of 10,000 Kings event, before the 330th Supreme Army descends on the 10,000 races battlefield, you will obtain the title of Obscure Achievement and the reward of this King of 10,000 Kings event. Current forces that have been repelled 1. Remaining 99. Zhou Fight's eyes lit up. His guess was indeed correct. There were actually additional rewards for dealing with the Scarlet Lords. Just the achievement of the Scarlet Empire Destroyer, True God Tier, gave him a total of 500 million faction points. Not to mention the achievement of the Unveiling of Victory, Special Level. That was worth 1 billion Universal General Faction Points. Looks like I can dig out more high-value achievements by destroying these high-level Lord factions. I should be able to obtain a better reward if I can destroy the Chaos Scarlet Empire. If I can destroy all the Scarlet Empires, no. Even if only half of them are destroyed, and end this King of 10,000 Kings event in advance, I can even obtain the title of Obscure Achievement and the reward of the Obscure event. At the thought of this, Zhou Fight could not help but be tempted. Anyone who had played the game would know that the obscure reward was the rarest and most difficult to obtain. Of course he wanted it. He began to think. Today is the 20th day of the King of 10,000 Kings event. There are still 10 days left. Destroying hundreds of the Scarlet Empire in 10 days? Zhou Feit muttered. His eyes lit up. This challenge was very difficult. However, it was precisely because it was difficult that Zhou Feit, who had a belligerent personality, felt his blood boil. Furthermore, this aim might be an unimaginable goal for the lords of the other races. However, to him, who now had more than 600 billion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers, it was not completely impossible. Moreover, his power would skyrocket in the next few days. 10 days would be enough for him to wipe out all the Scarlet Empires, including the Chaos Scarlet Empire. As long as he wiped out 10 top-tier Scarlet Empires every day, he could even destroy half of the high-level Scarlet Empire. Then, he deliberately released this news to attract the other lords to join forces to deal with the remaining top-tier Scarlet Empire, to help him shorten the time for the King of 10,000 Kings event to end. This way, he could end the King of 10,000 Kings event early. Then, because he had completed half of the high-level Scarlet Empire's goals, and ended the King of 10,000 Kings event in advance, his faction points were also ranked first. This way, he would be able to obtain the event's final reward, the Obscure Achievement Title reward, and the Obscure Event reward. It did not affect his interests at all. At this thought, Zhou Feit nodded slightly in his heart. This plan was very promising, but it's safer. I'll try my best to eliminate the minimum of 15 top-tier Scarlet Empires in a day, and give myself a few days of free time to resolve any unexpected situations that might happen. Zhou Feit thought to himself. The factions under his command could destroy a faction like the Yin Ghost clan, that had 10 Empire-tier lords in half a day. It shouldn't be a problem to spend an entire day obliterating 15 top-tier Scarlet Empires. If there was not enough time, he would not rest at night, and continue his crusade against the top-tier Scarlet Empire. In any case, with the soldiers' extraordinary tier constitution, the supplement potions provided by the territory, and the Dark Walker Lord talent, it was not a problem for them to not sleep for a few days. It's settled then. Zhou Feit immediately made his decision. Chapter 1143 Battle Resurrection Scroll. Heaven-defying Scarlet Lord talent. As a clone of his main body, his thoughts represented Zhou's thoughts. Therefore, there was no need to discuss it with Zhou. Then, he carefully looked at the reward for destroying the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. Even though he had already watched it once, Zhou Feit was still a little shocked when he saw it again. The reward for destroying a high-level Scarlet Empire was really generous. Just 10 bottles of potential advancement potions, True God Tier Advanced Grade, 10 books of the God Spirit, True God Tier Advanced Grade, 10 Hero Inheritance Secret Manuals, True God Tier, and 1,000 Divine Crystals, True God Tier Advanced Grade, were enough to make countless Empire Tier Lord factions, and even Divine Kingdom Lord factions go crazy. As for the True God Tier Invitation Letter, Zhou Feit took a look at it, and realized that using it, he could randomly summon a True God Tier Elementary Grade God Spirit to become a True God Revered Elder of his territory. Zhou Feit's expression did not change as he opened it on the spot. The next second, the True God Tier Invitation Letter turned into a holy white stream of light and left his hands. It flew out of the Galaxy Leader and disappeared into the sky. Zhou Feit clicked his tongue. It turned out that this True God Tier Invitation Letter randomly summoned true gods. He didn't mind and looked at the exclusive human race building blueprint. Building blueprint name, Cross of Passion. Building blueprint level, race exclusive. Building blueprint effect, Suffering. Build a cross building and bind any life form to the cross. The bound life form will suffer endless pain and suffering for 10 days. After 10 days, this life form will die in endless pain and irreversible death. It's actually this race's building. Zhou Feit was enlightened. In the history of the Cerulean planet, this crucifix was also known as the Cross of Deicide. It was even said that a god spirit had died in the cross, a religious torture device. Of course, this was made up by the Cerulean planet's mythical tier. There were no real god spirits on the Cerulean planet. However, this torture device was indeed very famous on the Cerulean planet. Unexpectedly, it had become a building exclusive to races. Zoophyte was amazed. Judging from the effect, this crucifix was indeed worthy of being a famous torture tool in the history of the Cerulean planet. Moreover, the final, irreversible death that was created interested Zoophyte. Go back and get Zhao Changsho to build the Yellow River dockyard. Zoophyte put it away and looked at the last Battle Resurrection Scroll. Item name, Battle Resurrection Scroll. Item grade, Special. Item effect. All living beings that die in a battle can be revived upon use. It really is this scroll. A smile appeared on Zoophyte's face. He naturally had a deep impression of this item with astonishing effects. He had obtained 5 Battle Resurrection Scrolls in the previous Novice Lord test. 3 of them were used in the Novice Lord test, allowing him to pass the Novice Lord test with difficulty and become the strongest Novice Lord. He also received an important reward that allowed his Lord talent to be upgraded to the mythical tier. The only Lord talent, King of Loots. The other 2 were left behind, and until now they were unwilling to use them. He did not expect to obtain another one today. What a treasure! Zoophyte put it into his king's treasure box and put it together with the other 2 Battle Resurrection Scrolls. This was a life-saving treasure. Unless he was in a desperate situation, he would rather waste his faith divine crystals than waste such a treasure. More than an hour later, on the Emperor's throne in the Imperial Palace of the Yarrow Empire, Zoophyte looked at the Scarlet General, who was a true god-tier advanced grade. His name was Gerudo. He was the guardian that God Yarrow had specially sent to Yarrow Chigens to protect his life. Unfortunately, he hadn't fulfilled his duty. He had seen him die in front of him. Now, in order to survive, he had chosen to surrender to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Even though it was a gamble, Gerudo felt that he made the right bet from the looks of it. It seemed that this common people's regal was really as benevolent as the legends said. As long as he sincerely surrendered to him, he would definitely not go back on his word and do something that would harm the life of the surrendered person. At this moment, he was reporting to his new king what he knew about this tribulation of all races. Zoophyte fell into deep thought after hearing it. Then he said, "So more than half of the hundreds of high-level Scarlet Empires personally led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire were sent by the Scarlet Divine Kingdom to participate like the Yarrow Scarlet Empire?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Gerudo stated respectfully. "The Crimson Divine Kingdom can't participate in this tribulation of 10,000 races event, but they also want the event reward prepared by the Crimson Overlord for this event, so they did this. In addition, this will also be beneficial for their lord to compete for the position of Scarlet Supreme in the Scarlet Camp in the future." Zoophyte nodded slightly. The Supreme Scarlet was equivalent to the Lord of all races on the Supreme Will's side. It represented countless astonishing resources and authority. No Scarlet race or Scarlet Lord faction would not be tempted. "Tell me about that Scarlet Holy Son. You stated that he commanded the Chaos Scarlet Empire. Has he already established an empire?" Zoophyte asked. He had the King of Loots and many top-notch Lord talents. Yet he was still one step away from establishing an Empire-tier Lord faction. Now, someone suddenly told him that someone else had already led an Empire-tier Lord faction, and it was even a high-level Empire-tier Lord faction. Zoophyte felt that it was ridiculous. That Scarlet Holy Son's name is Aus. He is indeed the strongest Scarlet Lord among the younger generation of Scarlet Lords. The reason why he can command an Empire-tier Lord faction now is because he personally established this Empire-tier Lord faction. At this stage, who can establish an Empire-tier Lord faction? When Gerudo stated this, he revealed an extremely envious and jealous expression. The reason why he can command the Chaos Scarlet Empire is because he has an incomparably heaven-defying Scarlet Lord talent. It's stated that this Lord talent allowed him to inherit the power of a Divine Kingdom Overlord. As long as he completes the corresponding war goals and raises his faction and strength to a suitable level, he can inherit a portion of the Divine Kingdom Lord's faction. Now, the other party is a high-tier deity-level Scarlet God Spirit, so he naturally inherited a high-level Empire Tier Lord faction, Chaotic Scarlet Empire. It's stated that if the other party advances to the level of a true god, he can take over a portion of the resources, status, and authority of the Divine Kingdom's Lord faction, the Chaos Scarlet Divine Kingdom. If the other party advances to the Master God tier level, it's stated that not only can he inherit an ancient race, but he can also awaken an Overlord level Lord faction and utilize it for him. With this Lord talent, he has undoubtedly turned into the strongest Scarlet Lord among the younger generation. At the same time, he is also the strongest competitor for the Scarlet Lord. This is also the reason why he was able to guide tens of thousands of veteran Scarlet Empire tier lords, as the Scarlet Lord of the younger generation, in this tribulation of 10,000 races. Even my previous master, who was just killed by the female general, Yarrow Chijins, the eldest son of the Master God tier, has to obey AUS orders. Zoophyte. What kind of heaven-defying Scarlet Lord talent did he possess? I, who inherited the Overlord level Lord faction at the beginning, began to rise from the Black Iron tier Scarlet Lord, right? Chapter 1144 Zoophyte's plan. Zoophyte exclaimed in his heart. Wait. Didn't that mean that if he killed the other party, he would be able to obtain such ridiculous talent? Where is AUS now? Zoophyte immediately asked. AUS didn't come to the High Continent personally. What came to the High Continent was only a clone of Aus. He is still fighting in the Crimson Universe. This guy knows that he's destined to become a top-notch lord of an Overlord-level faction in the future, so he cherishes his life very much. If he can avoid taking risks, he definitely won't take any risks. He won't hesitate even if he loses some benefits. Gerudo said honestly. Zoophyte. What was with this familiar feeling? After the main body found out, he would definitely want to have a drink with the other party, so that they could exchange experiences. At this moment, Zoophyte suddenly thought of a problem. If your Scarlet Lord is the first to upgrade his territory to a high level, there should be a reward, right? For example, the first faction to upgrade to the White-Silver tier Scarlet Lord, the first faction to upgrade to the Yellow-Gold tier Scarlet Lord. But will he also receive a reward directly when he encounters AUS situation? He asked. There is indeed such a reward. However, because AUS has this Lord talent, it has nothing to do with him. Only the Scarlet Lord who upgrades his territory normally will receive the first upgrade reward. Gerudo said. Zoophyte nodded. Blessings and misfortunes depend on each other. It seemed that even though AUS had directly obtained the inheritance rights of the complete and rich feudal lords and ancient races, because of his lord talent, he had also lost some precious things. Just like him. Even though his leveling speed was faster than all the lord of all races, he also lost the joy of competing with the lords of all races. Hee hee. What exactly do you know about this tribulation of 10,000 races? Tell me. Zoophyte said calmly. Yes, your majesty. Gerudo hurriedly said. Then, he began to spill everything he knew. He used his divine power to draw in the air as he said, outlining in detail the military defenses of the Scarlet Empire, the appearance characteristics of some of the powerful generals of him, and even the little hobbies and secrets of some of the rulers of the Scarlet Empire. At this moment, Wutu was also present. As he listened to the other party speak, he recorded something on his personal terminal. Only then did the other party stop talking. Your Majesty, I've already told you everything I know. Gerudo said carefully. Let's descend. Zoophyte could sense that the other party had indeed finished speaking. He waved his hand and let the other party leave. Then, he looked at Wu Tuesday. How's it going? Everything has been recorded, but I plan to talk to Gerudo about some small details. Go on. Zoophyte nodded. Wu Tu bade farewell and left. Bai Yin. Zhou looked at Bai Yin. Your Majesty, I'm here. Bai Yin stood up and said respectfully, if you lead the army freely, how many high-level Scarlet Empires can you attack from now on until nightfall? Attention! I'm talking about the hundreds of high-level Scarlet Empires personally led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire. Zhou asked. Your Majesty, currently, among the hundreds of high-level Scarlet Empires, other than the chaotic Scarlet Empire, whose military strength is still unknown, the other high-level Scarlet Empires are far inferior to us in terms of military strength, god spirits, and true god tier. It's about 3 hours until nightfall. In these 3 hours, if I drive Galaxy with all my might, I'm confident that I can take down at least 6 high-level Scarlet Empires. Bai Yin uttered without hesitation. Zhou nodded lightly. Half an hour later in a Scarlet Empire. It was similar to his estimation. With the current strength of the Blazing Sun Kingdom's troops, and the strength of their god spirits, even the beginner Scarlet Divine Kingdom could not compare to them. The intermediate grade Scarlet Divine Kingdom could even arm wrestle them. Dealing with some high-level Scarlet Empires that didn't even have the means of a master god tier was naturally not a problem. He had previously imagined taking down 15 high-level Scarlet Empires in a day. It was actually a conservative estimate. Normally speaking, if he were to battle his Blazing Sun Kingdom at full strength, he might be able to take down 30 high-level Scarlet Empires in a day. He had the confidence to defeat all the Scarlet Empire factions, except the Chaos Scarlet Empire, in less than 4 days. When he had more or less figured out the intelligence of the Chaos Scarlet Empire's military forces, and felt that he could deal with them, he could even directly prepare to end this King of 10,000 Kings activity. Speaking of which, after hearing Bai Yun's words, Zhou said, "Then do it. In the next 7 days, if you can take down those 100 high-level Scarlet Empires, this king will record a great merit for you. I promise I won't let you down." Bai Yun's eyes lit up, and she immediately uttered respectfully. With the current size and foundation of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, the value of a great contribution was extremely high. Now that Bai Yun had become a true god tier, her confidence and ambition had increased greatly. She was eager to complete the goal that His Majesty had set for him. Zhou nodded slightly. After that, Zhou and Bai Yi led their armies to conquer 6 high-level Scarlet Kingdoms, before calmly returning to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou and the rest were very happy. This was because their gains were extremely abundant. They were shocked when they heard the news about the forces of the Scarlet Empire that invaded the High Continent. They would never have thought that they, as the invaders of the High Continent, would suddenly suffer such a huge loss. Even though the 7 high-level Scarlet Empires were not many compared to the more than 100,000 Empire tier lords participating in this exhibition, however, these 7 high-level Scarlet Empires were only a small part of the core leadership of the Scarlet Forces. The core leadership had been counterattacked by the lords of all races. How could they not be shocked? At this moment, in the territory occupied by the Chaos Scarlet Empire, there was a high-tier deity-level regional territory called the Cloud World. After this place was occupied by the chaotic Scarlet Empire, AUS, the ruler of the Chaos Scarlet Empire, liked the environment here, and felt that this place was more like his capital in the Crimson Great Cosmos. Hence, this place became the second capital of the Chaos Scarlet Empire in the High Continent. In the Imperial Palace, AUS Clone was discussing the upcoming war plan with his Scarlet generals. Not only were they discussing the war scheme of the Chaos Scarlet Empire, but they were also discussing the war plan of the entire Scarlet Invasion Force on the High Continent. As the leader of the Scarlet Invasion Force, the performance of the Chaos Crimson Overlord AUS would determine how much he would benefit from this Crimson Overlord event. Crimson Overlord had never been stingy in nurturing the lords of its own faction, as long as one had the qualifications to be nurtured. Therefore, AUS was very diligent in this aspect. Just as the discussion was getting heated, "Report!" An urgent voice sounded from outside the hall. Then, a scarlet messenger rushed in from outside the hall and knelt on the ground. He uttered respectfully, "Reporting to Your Majesty." There was news from the front line that the Common People's Regal had already headed his army to annihilate the Emohao Scarlet Empire just now. Scarlet Lord Emohao has been killed, and all the resources in the empire have been plundered. The entire hall fell silent when that was announced. Chapter 1145 AUS, Will never underestimate my enemy. It's the 7th. How long has it been? He actually defeated our 7 core leaders. Is this common people's regal really that terrifying? Why does this common people's regal feel stronger than the legends? The ministers discussed animatedly. Silence. An attendant beside AUS clone shouted. The hall immediately fell silent. Where are the reinforcements I sent? AUS clone said. The reinforcements were on their way, but the common people's regal army was moving too fast. Our reinforcements couldn't reach them. In addition, we don't know the target of the other party's attack. The other party's attack on our Empire Tier Lord faction is too fast. We can only passively chase after them from behind, so we haven't been able to catch up, and can't arrive in time to provide support. Let's descend, AUS clone said. Yes, Your Majesty. The Scarlet Messenger bade farewell and left. After he left, AUS looked at the Scarlet Ministers. Only a small portion of these ministers were direct descendants he had nurtured since he was weak. The rest were inherited by he through his mythical tier unique lord talent, Chaos Demon Lord. Even though it was inherited, loyalty was very reliable. Therefore, he directly asked, what plans do you have, ministers? Let's hear it. The ministers looked at each other. Then the Commander-in-Chief Zun Qi stepped forward and said respectfully, Your Majesty. The other party's mobility and war speed are extremely fast. If we only send reinforcements to protect the attacked high-level Empire factions, I'm afraid it won't be of much use. Since the other party can win 7 out of 7 battles today, he will definitely continue to attack our high-level Scarlet Empire forces tomorrow. I feel that there are only 2 choices that can break the other party's attack now. First, get all the high-level Scarlet Lords in the vicinity to gather together. At the same time, get the high-level Scarlet Lords to huddle together. In terms of military strength, they have to be at least as powerful as the Blazing Sun Kingdom. This way, when the high-level Scarlet Kingdoms are attacked by the Blazing Sun Kingdom, they will at least have the time to resist and wait for our reinforcements to arrive. Moreover, we can use this method to set up an ambush and eliminate all the forces of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in one fell swoop. Secondly, mobilize our army, put down all the matters at hand, and attack the Common People's Regal's Blazing Sun Kingdom. No matter how fast Common People's Regal's transportation is, his territory won't move. As long as we attack its core, the Common People's Regal will definitely return to defend. At that time, with our 50,000-odd Scarlet Empire factions, and more than 1 million kingdom-level Scarlet Lord factions terrifying troops and god spirits, the Blazing Sun Kingdom will be taken down in an instant. All the ministers were shocked as soon as these words were spoken. In order to deal with the Common People's Regal, he gathered all our Scarlet forces. Isn't he thinking too highly of the other party? That's right. With more than 50,000 Scarlet Kingdoms, it's enough to gather more than thousands of true god tiers, tens of millions of Scarlet god spirits, and thousands of trillions of troops. Even top-notch Divine Kingdom Lord factions with Master God tier offerings won't be able to withstand such a force. Are we really going to deal with a small Blazing Sun Kingdom? You think too highly of him, don't you? No. I feel that we might lose if we rashly gather a large number of soldiers and god spirits to fight in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. This is because I heard that the Common People's Regal has a special ability called Insight Defection. It's said that before the battle, the other party only needs to activate this ability to take half of the enemy's troops for themselves. Once such a terrifying ability falls on the army we send, our army will instantly become the enemy's source of soldiers. Then, I'm afraid that our offense and defense will change between us and the Blazing Sun Kingdom. I also know about this, so before we solve this problem, don't easily lead the army to that Common People's Regal. This ability is too terrifying. If the other party really has such ability, which Lord faction in the world would be a match for that Common People's Regal? At this moment, AUS calm voice sounded. I have a way to resolve the other party's countermeasure. The ministers of chaos immediately looked at Aus. After I found out about the Common People's Regal's ability, I personally questioned the Great Crimson Overlord. Lord Crimson Overlord admits that the other party does have this ability. Furthermore, It's a lord's innate ability. However, this lord's innate skill is not omnipotent. First, this skill can only be activated once a day. Second, this skill can only be used when the difference in strength between the two sides isn't too great. If the difference in strength is too great, even if the other side activates this ability, it won't take effect. Third, the upper limit of this ability is at the level of an advanced grade master god tier. This king has already spent some money to borrow a sacred object from the Crimson Overlord. With the protection of that sacred object, our army will definitely not be incited by the other party. In fact, it might even be reversed. The other party's incite defection ability will become our sharp weapon against him. Aus uttered with a smile. The eyes of the ministers of chaos lit up. Junqi, your suggestion is very good. But forget about the first one. The other party's mobility is strong. Even if we set up an ambush, I'm fearful the other party will easily escape. Also, I've checked common people's regal's past achievements. This human lord with the status of a regal has a terrifying skill to become stronger the more he fights. Therefore, we either don't come into contact with each other or fight. We have to use everything we have to kill the other party immediately. Therefore, I've decided to mobilize the forces of the 50,000-strong Crimson Kingdom and the million-strong Crimson Kingdom to attack the Blazing Sun Kingdom. We will never give the other party any hope of winning or even surviving. A hint of ruthlessness flashed across Aus' eyes. He had read many Lord novels. In those novels, some villains would always look down on the protagonist and let some of their subordinates cope with him. In the end, this behavior made the protagonist constantly become stronger through war. By the time the villain reacted and wanted to deal with the protagonist with all his might, the protagonist had already become a behemoth that could casually crush the villain. How could he, as the Scarlet Holy Sun who was familiar with all kinds of novels, make such a mistake? Either they don't battle, or they fight to their deaths. He, the Scarlet Holy Sun, Aus, would never underestimate his enemy. He wouldn't care about the attitudes of the other Scarlet factions. The powerful always walked alone. If one cared about the thoughts of the short-sighted, and was even influenced by the thoughts of the short-sighted, one would only be destined to be a loser. Yes, Your Majesty. Even though the ministers of chaos had their own opinions in their hearts, seeing that their emperor had made up his mind, they did not say anything else and spoke respectfully with full fighting spirit. Chapter 1146 Ranking. Huge lead. Fighting for second place. In the Blazing Sun Kingdom, within the Divine Kingdom world, Blazing Sun Palace. Bai Yin was kneeling in front of the main hall, waiting respectfully with her head lowered. Zhou Zhou sat on the throne and looked at the battle report projected in front of him. First was the faction points. Today, they had wiped out 7 Scarlet Empires, including the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. In the process of destroying the country, he eliminated 1,051 Eye of the Heaven's Anger targets. It had to be said, as the Scarlet Leader's faction in the King of 10,000 Kings activity this time, the Eye of the Heaven's Anger in their country had shockingly many targets. In fact, some of the targets were not found by Zhou Zhou through the Eye of the Heaven's Anger. Instead, they were targets that he had conveniently killed during the process of destroying the country. As for the 7 Scarlet Empires, in addition to the 1,051 Eye of the Heaven's Anger targets, they provided Zhou Zhou with a total of 575 million faction points. In addition, he also obtained 70 bottles of Potential Advancement Potion, True God Advance Grade, 70 books of the Book of the God Spirit, True God Advance Grade, 70 books of the Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, True God Tier, 7 invitation letters from True Gods, 7,000 Divine Crystals, True God Advance Grade, 7 exclusive human race building blueprints, 7 battle resurrection scrolls, and a large number of potential advancement potions below the True God level, Book of the God, Spirit, Divine Crystals, and other treasures as rewards. And now, he had already obtained an extremely shocking lead on the rankings. The details are as follows: Frowny Face first place. Human, Lord of the Blazing Sun, 62,532,000,000 faction points. Second place, Original Spirit Race, True Lord, 13,816,000,000 faction points. Third place, Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord, 11,012,000,000 faction points. Fourth place, Chaotic Tribe, Great One Lord, 9,621,000,000 faction points. Fourth place, Myriad Spirit Race, Spiritual Venerable Lord, 8,836,000,000 faction points. When Zhou saw the current rankings, a smile finally appeared on his face. Now the gap between me and the second place is nearly 5 times, excluding the possibility of accidents. Even if I don't do anything in the next 10 days, I think I can firmly grasp the first place. He muttered to himself. Of course, naturally, he would not do nothing. Even though his event reward was almost guaranteed, the egg would continue to work hard for the sake of the obscure achievement title and the rewards for the event. The true lords should be dumbfounded when they see my faction points, right? Zhou suddenly chuckled. He was right. When the true lords saw Zhou's universal general faction points, they were indeed stunned. They could not believe their own eyes, believing that there was something wrong with their eyes. It was only after they repeated it several times, and the number remained unchanged, that they confirmed the fact. Then, they felt deep helplessness. With such a huge difference in universal general faction points, even if they took out their final trump card, they would still be far inferior to Zhou. Yes, they had already prepared a trump card for this faction points ranking battle. This trump card was that they had prepared a large number of faction quests that had been completed in advance, but had not been submitted. These faction quests that were about to be submitted were provided by the Empire Tier Lord factions and Kingdom-level Lord factions that wanted to befriend top bloodline races like them. It was for the sake of obtaining a little reward from top-notch races like them in the future. Even if it was just entering their sight, they were willing. In the face of the risk of these bootlicking Lord factions, the true lords naturally would not refuse, and accepted it one after another. He also handed in a portion of the faction quests, and obtained faction points, to increase his ranking on the faction points ranking. As for the other faction quests, they did not choose to submit them. Instead, they secretly stayed behind. They planned to sprint, at the last moment, and amaze the world with a single feat. They would catch the lords of the other races off guard, and obtain a good ranking of faction points. He even wanted to use this method to surpass the Lord of the Blazing Sun, and become first place. That was what the true lords thought. However, the idea was good, but the reality was not so good. They never expected that the Lord of the Blazing Sun's faction points would increase from more than 10 billion to more than 60 billion in such a short period of time. Was he cheating? Many lords of the 10,000 races suspected this. However, the truth was right in front of them. No matter how unwilling they were to believe it, they could only accept that the Lord of the Blazing Sun's faction points had far surpassed theirs. They even knew that even if they tried their best, it would be difficult for them to surpass this insurmountable opponent before the event ended. After all, the difference was too great. It was not something that their hidden faction points could make up for. Hence, they could not help but have another thought. He would definitely not be able to get first place. And the second, the true Lord, the heaven-chasing Lord, the Great One Lord, the spiritual venerable Lord, and the other top lords all had a consensus at this moment. He completely gave up on the idea of competing for the first place in the event, and went all out to fight for the second place. Even though the rewards for the second place were slightly inferior to the first place, they could fall behind the Lord of the Blazing Sun, who was firmly in first place, but they definitely couldn't fail to get second place. As lords of the top races, they did not want to lose and could not lose. Zhou closed the faction points ranking, and looked at the other rewards. Zhou threw the potential advancement potion, the Book of the God Spirit, the secret manual of the hero inheritance, and other ordinary rewards, into the military merit exchange system, for his subjects to exchange. Zhou silently stored the 7 battle resurrection scrolls, divine crystals, and other rewards into his king's treasure box. Zhou used all 7 of the True God Tier's invitation letters. Then, he saw a text notification appear in front of him. Notice, the True God Spirit you have invited will join your territory after dawn tomorrow. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He had just over 100 True God Tiers. Even though this number was not small to him, the more True God Tiers he had under him, the better. Finally, Zhou looked at the 7 exclusive human race building blueprints. They were: Human Race's Exclusive Construction Blueprint, Imperial Tomb of Qin Shi. Human Race Exclusive Construction Blueprint, Summer Palace Garden. Human Race Exclusive Building Blueprint, Louvre Museum. Human Race Exclusive Construction Blueprint, Big Brother Wuxia Cave. Human Race Exclusive Construction Blueprint, Sydney Opera House. Human Race Exclusive Construction Blueprint, Phil Tower. Human Race Exclusive Construction Plans, Machu Picchu Treasure Hunting Park. Zhou carefully perused the operations of these buildings. Chapter 1147: The Use of 7 Races Construction. War Gathering. Among them, Qin Shi Huang could summon an Empire-tier soldier type, the Qin Terracotta Army. Summer Palace Garden could slowly increase the popularity of the people and increase the happiness of the subjects. The Louvre Museum could collect antiquities to increase the foundation of the territory, making it easier for the territory where the buildings were located to grow into a tourist city and attract more talents. Big Brother Wuxia Cave could increase the probability of an architect advancing to a higher level. It could also allow subjects to change their professions here to special protection professions, monks and special life professions, religious architects. The Sydney Opera House was a special building that could nurture lifestyle professionals and combat professionals. It could reduce the need for professionals like them to advance to a higher level of promotion energy. Moreover, they would regularly hold music activities at the Sydney Opera House. It could also attract talents from all over to join the Lord's territory and become the subject of the Lord. The Phil Tower was a purely tourist building. It could also attract tourists from all over the world to visit it. There was a certain chance that they would settle down in the territory. The Machu Picchu Treasure Hunting Park is a special building for treasure hunting. Subjects could enter the park to play and search for treasures by buying tickets from the staff. If they were lucky, not only could they earn back the ticket price, but they could also make a huge profit. If they were unlucky, the scenery in Machu Picchu Treasure Hunting Park would make the tourists feel that this trip was not in vain. Zhou looked at these buildings and was quite satisfied. Then, his gaze landed on the first building blueprint. After looking at the architectural effects of the blueprint, Zhou shook his head regretfully. This was because the summoning requirement of the Qin Terracotta Army was to summon their heroic souls from the dead soldiers and store them in the terracotta soldiers to form the true Qin Terracotta Army. To other normal lords, this request was very easy to fulfill. However, to the soldiers under Zhou who had revived countless times, this request was a little difficult for him. He couldn't possibly let he kill a group of soldiers and not allow them to revive normally. Instead, he could live as a terracotta soldier, right? Zhou believed that he loved his soldiers like his own son, so he naturally could not do that. Let's build it first. At the very least, this tomb has the effect of calming the hearts of the people and appeasing the citizens of foreign countries. Even if I can't summon the Qin Terracotta Army, it's not a loss to build it, he muttered to himself. Then, he looked at the summary at the back. Today, they first subdued the Ingos clan, then took over the race resources of the Heaven Hidden clan and the Rakshasa clan, and then defeated the 7 high-level Scarlet Empires in a row. These racial factions and the war resources left behind by the Empire-tier Scarlet Lord faction, the racial reserves of the clan, and their spoils of war were enhanced by the titles of the King of Loots and the Strongest Lord. They obtained a total of 236, 816, 000, 000 legendary tier mist cores, 986,013,000,000 epic tier mist cores, 2,110,120,000 extraordinary tier mist cores, 4,530,875,000 diamond tier mist cores, 6,150,889,000,000 white platinum tier mist cores, 1,228,080,000,000 yellow gold tier mist cores, 1,4630, 000, 360, 000, 000 white platinum tier mist cores, 1,280,000,000,000 gold tier mist cores, 1,4630, 003, 000, 000, 000, 000 white platinum tier mist cores. There were more than 1,050,000,000,000 skill books and 9,200,000,000,000 equipment. The basic materials were about 1,600 trillion units. Basic elemental gemstone resources, more than 100,000,000,012 units. More than 5,510,000,000 units of thunder element gems. 11,240,000 units of life elemental gems. 8,860,000,000 units of death elemental gems. More than 30 million units of time elemental gems. More than 18 million units of space elemental gems. 8,012,000,000 origin crystals. 2,510, 000, 1,800 green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragments. More than 31,220,000,000 units of divine crystals, from low tier to high tier deity level. 36,652 true god tier divine crystals. More than 1,260,000,000 low tier to high tier deity level divine artifacts. 3,688 true god tier divine artifacts. There were a total of more than 120 million divine spark fragments, god tier medicinal herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. 68,500 master god tier herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. In addition to these normal gains, they also acquired spoils, such as the true god tier elementary grade battle formation, summoning Rakshasa heavenly ghost, shadowless altar building blueprint, true god tier battle puppet, Rakshasa, true god tier war machinery, heaven stealth divine warship, special equipment blueprint, shadowless staff, true god intermediate grade potion, god's blood potion, and other spoils of battle that were unique to their race and civilization. Zhou nodded slightly after he finished reading this part of the battle summary. After Zhou finished reading this part of the war, he nodded slightly. Indeed, he wasn't disappointed. In addition, the life elemental gems and death elemental gems that he had obtained had also far exceeded what he needed. Next, he could upgrade his territory to a legendary tier advanced grade, or even higher. As for the green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragment that was as high as 2.5 billion, it could allow he to have 2 more mythical tier unique lord talents. In short, he had gained a lot. Then, he looked at the list of god spirits at the back. After today's war, a total of 516 advanced grade legendary tier soldiers under he had been promoted to low tier deity level elementary grade god spirits. Coupled with the 5,066 ordinary god spirits he had acquired from the 10,000 spirit saint, and the 2,650 god spirits he had subdued after subduing the Tianqian tribe and the Rakshasa tribe, the total number of god spirits under him had astonishingly reached 19,438. As for the true god tier, he originally had 122 true god tiers. In addition to the 48 true god tiers that the 10,000 spirit saint had acquired this time, as well as the 20 true god tiers that had surrendered from the Tianqian tribe and the Rakshasa tribe, he now had 190 true god tiers under him. Including Yellow Emperor and the others, the number of true god tier under him, he had 194 true gods. Zhou looked at the final list of troops. Today, he had acquired the loyalty of a total of 501,170,989,160 soldiers through the 10,000 spirit saint. In addition to the 1,156,968,865 soldiers surrendered by the Tianqian race and the Rakshasa race, that added up to 1,657,000,000,000 267,958,025 soldiers. As for the Star Alliance Masters, after following the army to participate in the battle between the people of foreign races today, they had also instigated Zhou incite defection, with 456,186,122 people of foreign races. The soldiers under he now, excluding the soldiers of the Star Alliance, had already reached 7,688,209,355,068 soldiers. Including the 22 trillion soldiers of the Star Alliance, he now had more than 9 trillion soldiers under him. That was close to 10 trillion. 10 trillion. Zhou sighed. This was already comparable to an ordinary intermediate-grade Divine Kingdom Lord faction. Among these 7 trillion soldiers were 815, 6,018, 2,007,502 Black Iron Tier soldiers, 817,464,449,464 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 720,222,409,680 million White Silver Tier soldiers, 695,133,671,258 Yellow Gold Tier soldiers, 485,599,930 White Platinum Tier soldiers, 168,186,586,642 Diamond soldiers, 64,262,027,840 Extraordinary Tier soldiers, 369,125,677 Epic Tier soldiers, and 359,007,009,070 Legendary Tier soldiers. After today's battle, the strength of the god spirits under him had increased to varying degrees. Among them, Nazario and Extreme Dragon had advanced to the high-tier deity level advanced grade. Furthermore, Nazario was already close to becoming a true god tier. Light Sacred Dragon Ingersoll had advanced to become a high-tier deity elementary grade god spirit. He was not far from becoming a true god tier. Zhou finally nodded in satisfaction after reading it. Nazario's old friend was finally about to become a true god tier. Then, he didn't think too much about it. He walked out of the Divine Kingdom world and prepared to raise the level of his territory. Chapter 1148 Upgrade the Territory. The Sword of Xian Yuan. The Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. In the sky above Blazing Sun Kingdom, Zhou looked down at the Blazing Sun Kingdom below. With a thought, he chose to upgrade his territory. A text notification appeared as 20,000 trillion units of basic materials, 100,000 legendary tier mist cores, 5 billion origin crystals, 50 billion basic elemental gems, 15 billion high-level elemental gems, and 10 legendary tier territory tokens disappeared. Congratulations, your legendary tier elementary grade blessed land has successfully advanced to a legendary tier intermediate grade blessed land. Your territory has been successfully upgraded to a legendary tier elementary grade territory. Your legendary level 9 refinement divine transformation formation has been upgraded to legendary tier advanced grade 9 refinement divine transformation formation. Territory stone tablet durability increased to 1 trillion/1 trillion. Your territory has expanded to 50 million kilometers x 50 million kilometers x 100,000 kilometers. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Basic building blueprint treasure chest, legendary tier advanced grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Broodmother can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he looked expectantly at the material requirements for the territory to be upgraded to low-tier deity level elementary grade. Construction upgrade. 10 trillion units of wood. 10 trillion units of fine sand. 10 trillion units of metal. 10 trillion units of stone. 1,000 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals. 10 billion origin crystals, 10 million units of time elemental gemstones, 10 million units of space elemental gemstones, 1 low-tier deity level elementary grade city, 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits, 1 million legendary level military professionals, 1,000 racial heroes, 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade territory tokens. He looked at the storage of space-time elemental gems in his king's treasure box before a smile appeared on his face. In his king's treasure box were 2 small mountains of time and space elemental gemstones. Among them, there were more than 93 million units of time elemental gems, and more than 76 million units of spatial elemental gems. All the upgrade conditions have been met. It's completely enough to level up. Since that's the case, I'll level up directly. Zhou did not hesitate, and chose to level up again. Accompanied by 40,000 trillion units of basic materials, 1,000 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals, 10 billion origin crystals, 20 million units of time and space elemental gems, and 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade territory orders, they disappeared. Congratulations! Your legendary tier advanced grade blessed land has successfully upgraded to a low-tier deity level elementary grade building, and advanced to a low-tier deity level elementary grade shrine. Lord's Law. Your territory has been successfully upgraded to low-tier deity level elementary grade. Your legendary advanced grade 9 refinement divine transformation formation has been upgraded to low-tier deity level elementary grade divine origin augmentation formation. Territory stone tablet durability increased to 1 trillion/1 trillion. Your territory has expanded to 50 million kilometers x 50 million kilometers x 100,000 kilometers. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest. Low tier deity level elementary grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Brood Mother can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. The next second, an even more dignified and loud voice sounded. Cerulean Planet World Channel Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to low-tier deity level elementary grade. Reward. Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Mythical Reputation Rating +3, Reputation Rating +1000, Unique Title of the Race. Glory of the Pioneer 8 has advanced to Glory of the Pioneer 9. Cerulean Planet's entire channel's Lord announcement. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun Cerulean Planet's entire channel's Lord announcement. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Congratulations to the King of the Blazing Sun, Advanced Kingdom. Lord of the Blazing Sun. A smile showed up on Zhou's face. He had finally raised his region to the low-tier deity level elementary grade, and obtained the title of the Glory of the Pioneer series again. In the current competitive environment where even kingdom-level lords were rare, he was definitely second to none. This was not the most important thing. Most importantly, he, who had upgraded his territory to the low-tier deity level elementary grade, could finally update the Blazing Sun Kingdom from an advanced kingdom to a beginner empire. Even though it was quite satisfying to beat up the various Empire tier lord factions with the name of an advanced kingdom, if he could advance, it was naturally better to advance. He was not in a hurry to upgrade the Blazing Sun Kingdom to an advanced empire. Instead, he began to check the rewards after upgrading the territory. The first was the low-tier deity level elementary grade formation, Divine Origin Amplification Formation. This array formation could help god spirits recover their divine power and injuries. At the same time, it could also help lords comprehend laws and increase their comprehension of laws. Next was the mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest, low-tier deity level elementary grade. The idea that it contained some kind of heaven-defying building blueprint But when he unlocked it, there were only dozens of ordinary building blueprints. For example, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade blacksmith shop building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade tailor talisman building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade pharmacy building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade farmland building blueprint. Other than that, there were also some more precious ordinary building blueprints. For example, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade divine artifact forging room building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade interesting goods shop building blueprint, the low-tier deity-level elementary-grade pet equipment building blueprint, and so on. These constructs might be considered rare construction resources for other Empire Tier Lord factions. But to Zhou, the king of loots, it was naturally nothing. Not to mention low-tier deity-level elementary grade. He even had a lot of true God tier building blueprints. He also had dozens of Master God tier building blueprints. It could only be built, but no one could use these true God tier and Master God tier level buildings. Therefore it was not built. Zhou threw it into the kingdom's treasury and looked at the next reward, Supreme Treasure Chest. He unlocked the treasure chest and took a look. A divine sword engraved with all living beings kneeling together was quietly floating in the treasure chest. When Zhou saw the sword, his breathing paused for a moment. Then he could not help but laugh. Finally, you're here. The sword of Xian Yuan. Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. Zhou's eyes lit up as he looked at the sword in his hand. Race Divine Artifact Name. Incomplete Sword of Xian Yuan, Equipment Grade. Unique in the race. Race Divine Artifact Ability 1. The Sun Moon Star Sword. Unknown. You need to collect and fuse the Sun Moon Star faces of the Sword of Xian Yuan to activate this Race Divine Artifact ability. Race Divine Artifact Ability 2. The Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword. Unknown. To activate this race's Divine Artifact ability, you need to collect and fuse the Sun Moon Star Sword face of the Sword of Xian Yuan. Race Divine Artifact Ability 3. The Agriculture Husbandry Sword. Unknown. To activate this race's Divine Artifact ability, you need to collect and fuse with the Sword of Xian Yuan's Agriculture Husbandry Sword face. Race Divine Artifact Ability 4. The Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. All subjects under the rule of the Lord of Cerulean Planet have a fixed loyalty of +3. Subjects under the rule of the Lord of Swords have a fixed loyalty of +10. All humans on Cerulean Planet will respect the Lord of the human race on the Cerulean Planet, who has the Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. At the same time, the Lord of Swords can call himself the Lord of the human race on Cerulean Planet. In times of crisis, he can command all the lords on Cerulean Planet and let the human race on Cerulean Planet reunite. Introduction to Race Divine Artifact. Sword of Xian Yuan. Also known as the Xian Yuan Xiaoyu Sword. One side of the sword is engraved with the sun, moon and stars, while the other side is engraved with mountains, rivers, grass and trees. The hilt of the sword is engraved with farming techniques, and the other side is written with the strategy of unifying the world. It contains endless power. Not only can it kill demons, it is also one of the important reliances of the Lord of Cerulean Planet in fighting for the position of Lord of all races on the High Continent. Chapter 1149 The Complete Sword of Xian Yuan. The Glory of the Pioneer 9. Zhou's eyes lit up after reading it. The effect of the Heaven and Earth Unification Sword could actually increase loyalty? Moreover, at the critical moment, he could order all the lords of the Cerulean Planet to become the true masters of the human race? He was not interested in the latter ability. He was already the ruler of all humans, including the humans of Cerulean Planet after all. On the side of the human lords of Cerulean Planet, the human lords of the Star Alliance under him were already recruiting the lords of Cerulean Planet from various places to gather their strength together. Currently, 90% of the human lords on the Cerulean Planet had become his subordinates and listened to him. As for the others, they did not join because they were too far away or were unwilling to contact him. Therefore, he, who ruled over 90% of the lords on the Cerulean Planet, could already be considered the true ruler of the human race on the cerulean planet. The point of steadily increasing loyalty was very important. It had to be known that he originally had a heaven-defying lord talent like the peaceful times. It could allow the loyalty of the subjects under him to basically reach 80 or even 90 points. Coupled with various treasures, buildings, buffs, and other supplementary means to increase the loyalty of the subjects in the territory, it could be said that many of the subjects under he had loyalty above 90 points. Now, coupled with the 10 points of fixed loyalty, Zhou immediately closed his eyes and sensed the changes in his power of faith at this juncture. A moment later, he opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his lips. In his perception, he could sense that tens of billions of fanatic believers had suddenly appeared among the subjects under him. Before that, these fanatic believers were only devout believers, or even true believers. Now, with these 10 points of loyalty, he had become a fanatic believer. And the pure power of faith transmitted by these fanatic believers' threads of faith also made his accumulation of power of faith suddenly increase by more than 1,000 times. With such a huge and pure power of faith as his backing, it was more than enough to advance to a true god. What more, the high-tier deity level. Now, the only thing that limited his advancement was his territory level and nomological comprehension. As long as he met these two requirements, he would be able to advance rapidly without any bottlenecks. Then, he took a deep breath and took out another incomplete sword. It was the incomplete sword of Xianyuan that had fused with the sword of Xianyuan, Sun Moon Star Sword, Sword of Xianyuan, Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword, Sword of Xianyuan, Agriculture Husbandry Sword. With a solemn expression, Zhou drew the two incomplete swords closer to each other. Just as the two were about to collide, a golden light suddenly lit up from the two incomplete Xianyuan swords. After the golden light dissipated, an incomparably noble golden ancient sword that had fused with the Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword, the Agriculture Husbandry Sword, the Sun Moon Star Sword, and the Heaven and Earth Unification Sword floated in front of Zhou. Zhou condensed the divine sword. He was very excited. This racial divine artifact was finally complete. He immediately looked at the sword's attributes. Race divine artifact name: Xianyuan Divine Sword. Equipment grade: unique in the race. Race divine artifact ability 1, Sun Moon Star Sword. All humans on Cerulean Planet will be illuminated by the light of the sun, moon and stars, increasing their potential by a small level. Lords with swords and their subjects will be loved by the sun, moon and stars, and their potential will increase by a large level. Race divine artifact ability 2, Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword. All plants planted by the humans of the Cerulean Planet will be loved by the mountains and rivers. Their growth time will decrease by 20%. The maximum reduction time is not more than 99.9%. The Lord and its Cerulean Planet subjects would be even more favored by the Mountain River Plants and Tree Sword. The growth time of plants and trees would decrease by 30%. The maximum reduction time would not exceed 99.9%. Moreover, when plants matured, there was a 20% chance that the medicinal effect would increase by 50%. There was a 1% chance that the quality of plants and trees would increase by 1. And there was a 0.1% chance that the quality of plants and trees would increase by 2. Race divine artifact ability 3, Agriculture Husbandry Sword. Gains of all Cerulean Planet's human lords' agriculture, livestock, and breeding industries plus 100%. Agricultural, livestock and breeding industry plus 300% for the lord who obtained the sword. Race divine artifact ability 4, Heaven and Earth Unification Sword. Omitted. Race divine artifact ability 5, Demon Slaying Demon Sword. All lords of Cerulean Planet and subjects under their rule will have plus 100% lethality when facing enemies from other races. Lords with swords will have plus 300% lethality when facing enemies from other races. Race divine artifact ability 6, Supreme Magic Sword. Sword-wielding lord's comprehension of supreme laws plus 100%. Easier to become a supreme law god spirit. Introduction to Race divine artifact. Xian Yuan Divine Sword, also known as the Xian Yuan Xiaoyu Sword. One side of the sword is engraved with the sun, moon, and stars, while the other side is engraved with mountains, rivers, grass, and trees. The hilt is engraved with the art of farming and cultivation, and the other side is the strategy of unifying the world. It contains endless power. Not only can it kill demons, but it is also one of the important reliances of the Lord of Cerulean Planet in fighting for the Lord of all races on the High Continent. Zhou was very satisfied after reading it. The complete sword of Xian Yuan was first named Xian Yuan Divine Sword. That was nothing much other than adding 2 new abilities. Among them, the Demon Slayer sword was naturally the most practical. When facing enemies from the people of foreign races, the destructive power of the Cerulean Planet's subjects and the Lord increased by 100% and 300% respectively. This was a percentage increase. Even to the current Zhou, it could greatly increase his strength, let alone the nearly 10 trillion soldiers under him. As for the Supreme Sword, it could also make it easier for him to comprehend the Lord's laws. Zhou's need for comprehension had never been capped, so he was very satisfied with the effect of this race's divine artifact. No wonder the introduction of the Xian Yuan Divine Sword said that this race divine artifact is one of the critical weapons of the Lord of Cerulean Planet in fighting for the Lord of all races on the High Continent. If I can become a Lord Law God Spirit, it will indeed rise my chances of competing for the position of Lord of all races. Zhou was deep in thought. Then, he thought of something and suddenly laughed. If the leaders of the people of foreign races who yearn to become Lord Law God Spirits knew about this, they would probably be very envious that the humans of Cerulean Planet actually had such a heaven-defying race divine artifact. They could actually rely on this race divine artifact to rise the probability of becoming Lord Law God Spirits. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He looked at the subsequent rewards. There was naturally no need to mention the 3 mythical reputation rating and 1000 reputation rating. Zhou was no longer interested in reputation rating talents, but he was still quite interested in mythical reputation rating talents. He had never been disappointed by mythical reputation rating talents after all. Furthermore, they did not become ordinary just because his force had increased. This was extremely rare and precious. Many of his talents with reputation rating had felt alright at the time. Now many of them had gradually become mediocre, and had even become ordinary people. This was the result of not being able to keep up with the speed of development. However, mythical reputation rating talents could. It could be seen how precious talents of this level were. Then, Zhou viewed at the impact of the title of the Glory of the Pioneer 9. Title name: Glory of the Pioneer 9. Title quality: Unique title of the race. Title effect 1. You are famous among the Cerulean Planet Lords. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of followers you can summon through the Gate of Summoning, everyday plus 900%. Professional talents of the same level as the territory among the subjects summoned plus 10. Title effect 2, same as before. Title effect 3. When you become the first Lord of Cerulean Planet, with a low-tier deity level elementary grade territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer X, and more title effects will be unlocked. Title introduction, same as before. A smile appeared on Zhou's face. This title could allow he to summon a subject every day with a professional talent of the same level as the territory plus 10. In other words, he could now summon 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits every day. Even though he no longer lacked these 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits, the feeling of freeloading was indeed comfortable. Chapter 1150 Low-tier deity level intermediate grade territory. The day of freeloading god spirits is finally coming. Zhou was very pleased with himself. He had been looking forward to this day ever since he learned of the title of Glory of the Pioneers. Now he had finally gotten what he wanted. He opened the world channel feeling smug. As expected, the human lords on Cerulean Planet were also discussing the matter of their territory, officially advancing to God-tier territory. His Majesty is awesome. A God-tier territory. I really want to go to His Majesty's territory to take a look. It must feel good to live in His Majesty's God-tier territory. Congratulations, Lord of the Blazing Sun. His Majesty is once again ahead of all the other lords, becoming the first person to upgrade his territory to a low-tier deity level elementary grade territory. I'm willing to give up my status as a lord and become an ordinary subject in His Majesty's territory. You're already dreaming before it's time to sleep. Ordinary? Have you seen any ordinary subjects of the Lord's faction who are all professionals? All professionals? Really? I'm a member of the military alliance and have the honor of visiting the Blazing Sun Kingdom. I can prove that what the person above said is true. The subjects of the Blazing Sun Kingdom can receive a class change certificate for free and freely change their profession to a combat professional or military professional. It's said that this kind of universal professionalization has been implemented in the Blazing Sun Kingdom for a period of time. Ridiculous. I only have 11% professionals, which is much better than most lords. It's hard to imagine what the territory of all professionals looks like. I'm willing to acknowledge Your Majesty as my foster father. Get lost. I want to be His Majesty's leg hair. Zhou looked at the content of these people's chat and could not help but smile. Then, he looked at the chat content on other channels, such as the Star Alliance channel, Kingdom channel, and Camp channel, and realized that most of them were talking about him. Furthermore, the lords of the Cerulean planet weren't the only ones talking. The other lords of foreign races were also talking about Zhou's god-tier territory. Furthermore, from the content of their conversation, they were also very shocked that the common people's regal could actually upgrade his territory to the low-tier deity level elementary grade at this time. Zhou was deep in thought. News travels fast. Could it be that I'm not only the first lord on the Cerulean planet to upgrade my territory to a lower-level lesser god, but also the first lord among the lords of all races to upgrade my territory to a low-tier deity level elementary grade? The more he thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. Otherwise, how could it cause such a huge commotion? That made sense. The resources needed to upgrade the territory to low-tier deity level elementary grade were terrifying. Even if Zhou had a resource-type lord talent like the King of Lutes, coupled with the fact that he had conquered many races, he could barely gather these resources. If the other lords of the 10,000 races were from top-notch bloodline races, without the direct help of the races behind them, they would not be able to gather the requirements to upgrade their territory to the god-tier level at this time. From the looks of it, he might indeed be the first lord to upgrade his territory to the low-tier deity level elementary grade. Thinking of this, he stopped thinking about it and looked at the material requirements for the territory to be upgraded to a lower-level deity. Building upgrade. 50 trillion units of wood, 50,000 trillion units of fine sand, 50,000 trillion units of metal, 50,000 trillion units of stone, 5,000 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals, 50 billion origin crystals, 50 million units of time element gems, 50 million units of space element gems, 3 low-tier deity level elementary grade cities, 1 low-tier deity level intermediate grade cities, 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits, 3 low-tier deity level intermediate grade, 5 million legendary tier military professionals, and 2,000 racial heroes, 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade territory tokens, and 3 low-tier deity level intermediate grade territory tokens. I have gathered the necessary basic materials, divine crystals, origin crystals, time and space elemental gems, low-level deity-level cities and territory tokens, low-level deity-level god spirits, legendary tier military professionals, and racial heroes to upgrade my territory again. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He was not surprised by this as he had accumulated a lot of space-time elemental gems. It was normal for him to be able to support the need to continuously upgrade his territory after all. However, the only thing that surprised he was the needs of the racial heroes. 2,000 racial heroes. The requirement to advance to the beginner empire is so high? Even though the number of heroes in my territory has long exceeded this number, I remember that Elizariel's Elven Empire, as a high-level empire, doesn't have more than 500 elven heroes in their country, right? Zhou was shocked. This requirement for the number of heroes had truly exceeded his imagination. In his memories, there was absolutely no need for so many heroes for the aboriginal factions in the High Continent to upgrade their territories. Even the resource requirements weren't so ridiculous. Unless the Supreme Will event that might appear in the future prizes a large number of hero inheritance type rewards that can greatly increase the number of heroes under the lords of all races. Then, through encouraging the lords of all races to fight and merge with each other, a powerful lord faction of the myriad races will obtain a large number of heroes. Only then can it be feasible to create so many race heroes. Zhou had a guess. With the Supreme Will's personality and his expectations of the lord of all races, it was really possible to design such a gu-rearing activity. He thought for a while and stopped thinking about it. He chose to upgrade his territory. The next second, accompanied by 20 trillion units of basic materials, 5,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals, 50 billion origin crystals, 100 million units of space-time elemental gems, and 13 low-tier deity-level elementary grade territory orders, they disappeared. Congratulations, your low-tier deity-level elementary grade shrine, Lord's Law, has successfully advanced to low-tier deity-level intermediate grade shrine, Lord's Law. Your territory has been upgraded to low-tier deity-level intermediate grade. Your low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine origin augmentation formation has been upgraded to low-tier deity-level intermediate grade. Territory stone steel durability increased to 2 trillion/2 trillion. Your domain has expanded to 100 million km times 100 million km times 500,000 m. All fog monsters within the domain of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest. Low tier deity level intermediate grade. Lord Talent notification. Your Scarlet Brood Mother can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he gazed at the materials needed to upgrade his domain to low-tier deity-level advanced grade. Building upgrade. 10 trillion units of wood. 10 trillion units of fine sand. 10 trillion units of metal. 10 trillion units of stone. 10,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals. 100 billion origin crystals. 100 million units of time element gems. 100 million units of space element gems. 10 low-tier deity-level elementary grade cities. 5 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade cities. 1 low-tier deity-level advanced grade cities. 20 low-tier deity-level elementary grade god. Spirits. 10 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade. 3 low-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, 10 million legendary tier military professionals, and 3,000 racial heroes, 20 low-tier deity-level elementary grade domain tokens, 10 low-tier deity-level intermediate grade territory tokens, and 10 low-tier deity-level advanced grade territory tokens. Chapter 1151 Upgrading to the Beginner Empire. Upgrading to the Gate of Summoning. Mythical Tier Architect Profession Change Statue. Zhou frowned slightly after reading it. This resource requirement was getting more and more ridiculous. If he hadn't consecutively conquered several racial-level factions and taken over their territory and racial resources, he really wouldn't have been able to gather the resources needed. Even so, he was still not strong enough, facing the 200 million units of space-time elemental gems. He looked at his king's treasure box. He now had 33 million units of time elemental gems and 16 million units of space elemental gems left after spending 60 million units of time elemental gems and 60 million units of space elemental gems. There were only 49 million units in total. There was still a huge gap from 200 million units of spacetime elemental gems. We have to continue the war. I hope the remaining 93 high-level Scarlet Empires can provide me with enough time and space elemental gems to upgrade my territory. Zhou thought. From Wu Tu's information, these Scarlet factions had come to the High Continent not only to invade, but also to occupy the territory of the High Continent and take root in this land to develop the Scarlet factions. In order to develop their forces, they would definitely carry a large amount of materials needed to establish and develop their territory. There might be the space-time elemental gemstones that he needed inside. He shook his head and stopped thinking. He flew to the Gate of Summoning and spent 680 trillion units of basic materials, 5,000 legendary tier mist cores, and 3,000 low-tier deity-level elementary-grade divine crystals to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to the low-tier deity-level intermediate grade. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has been upgraded to a diamond-tier intermediate-grade building. You can summon 200,000 subjects every day. You will summon 3,000 professionals every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 9, you can summon 328,9500 subjects every day. You will summon 3,010 professionals every day. After reading it, Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The number of subjects summoned by the low-tier deity-level intermediate-grade Gate of Summoning was 365,500. After being buffed by the Glory of the Pioneer 9, it directly increased by 9 times, becoming 3,289,500 people. While millions of new subjects were nothing to the current Blazing Sun Kingdom, who wouldn't like freebies? Not to mention that among these 3 million new subjects, there were 10 low-tier deity-level intermediate-grade god spirits. Then, he looked at the upgrade requirements of the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade. 500 trillion units of wood, 500 trillion units of fine sand, 500 trillion units of metal, 500 trillion units of stone, 10,000 divine crystals of low-tier deity-level advanced grade. Territory level upgraded to low-tier deity-level advanced grade. Upgrading the Gate of Summoning is still very simple after reaching the low-tier deity level. As expected, this Gate of Summoning is a bonus for upgrading the territory. Zhou did not mind. Then, he took a deep breath and opened the requirements for the Advanced Kingdom to upgrade to the Beginner Empire. He swept his gaze around. After confirming that he had met all his needs, he no longer hesitated. He took out a Beginner Empire token and recited upgrade in his mind. The next second, Empire notification. Lord of the Blazing Sun, you have used the Beginner Empire token. Do you wish to officially upgrade your territory from the Lord's territory of the Advanced Kingdom to the Lord's territory of the Beginner Empire? Yes, Zhou immediately said. Do you wish to use the Blazing Sun Kingdom, high-tier deity-level regional territory, as your Beginner Empire's capital region? Yes, please set your kingdom name the Blazing Sun Empire. Prompt. Your Lord's territory, Advanced Kingdom. Blazing Sun Kingdom is in the process of upgrading. Prompt. Level up successful. Congratulations. Your Advanced Kingdom Lord territory, Blazing Sun Kingdom, has officially been promoted to a Beginner Empire Lord territory, the Blazing Sun Empire. Your World Channel ID has changed. Your current World Channel ID is Blazing Sun Empire, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Right on the heels of that, an announcement that nodded the hearts of the lords of all races appeared. Congratulations, your high-level Lord territory, Blazing Sun Kingdom, has officially been promoted to a Beginner Empire Lord territory, Blazing Sun Empire. Lord of all races announcement. Congratulations to the human race, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Lord of all races announcement. Congratulations to the human race, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Zhou smiled. He had waited for a long time, prepared for a long time, and finally realized this goal that seemed unreachable at the beginning. My empire is finally established. At this moment, the text notification appeared again. Beginner Empire Hint 1. After your advanced kingdom is promoted to an empire, your reputation will spread throughout a wider area. More life forms will gradually know of your kingdom's existence. Please be prepared to handle the subsequent kingdom affairs. Beginner Empire Hint 2. Your Advanced Kingdom channel has officially been upgraded to Beginner Empire channel. It can accommodate up to 100 trillion subjects. Beginner Empire Hint 3. You have the authority to publish the Empire announcement. After publishing the Empire announcement, all subjects in the Empire channel will be informed of the news you released immediately. Beginner Empire Hint 4. Your affiliated kingdom function has officially been upgraded to subsidiary kingdom function. You can recruit up to 1,000 beginner kingdom lord factions, 500 intermediate kingdom factions, and 100 advanced kingdom factions to become your subsidiary kingdoms. Subsidiary kingdoms are not allowed to attack the suzerain kingdom. They have to accept the orders of the suzerain kingdom and advance and retreat with the suzerain kingdom. The suzerain kingdom has to support the development of the subsidiary kingdoms within its ability to protect the subsidiary kingdoms from external enemies. There is a parent-child spatial teleportation array between the main kingdom and the affiliated kingdom. It can be used for free regardless of distance. The main kingdom has the right to unilaterally close the parent-child spatial teleportation array. After reading it, the smile on Zhou's face widened. Then, he began to check the rewards, and was the first to open the mythical tier treasure chest. He saw a 1-meter-long golden statue of an old man, holding a long ruler lying quietly inside. Zhou gazed at it. Building name: Statue of the God of Architecture and Industry. Construction level: True God tier advanced grade. Construction effect: Mythical Architect. Spend 100 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals to obtain the master tier profession inheritance of the God of Construction and Industry Kurodo. You can change from a legendary tier advanced grade architect to a divine kingdom life profession, Mythical Architect. Architecture description: Building: A device that exists to understand civilization. Mythical tier architect, Kurodo. Do you want to place it? Zhou's eyes lit up and showed excitement. It was actually the inheritance of the architect's clergy profession advancement. Moreover, it was a master god tier profession inheritance. He had been waiting for this inheritance for a long time. Chapter 1152, Zhao Changshu changes profession to Mythical Tier Architect. Mythical Tier Architect characteristics. Zhou looked at the class change statue excitedly. With the statue of the God of Architecture and Industry, his territory would be able to independently nurture God tier architectural talents in the future. Furthermore, this class change statue was the class change statue of a Master God tier advanced grade. It represented the Mythical Tier Architect inheritance contained in him. It was the life profession inheritance of a Master God tier advanced grade. A Mythical Tier Architect who had obtained this legacy could advance all the way to the Master God tier advanced grade, as long as he had enough potential. There were indeed a few God tier architects from the people of foreign races among the God spirits under his command. Some of the God tier buildings, race buildings, and the only buildings in the territory, were built by these highly skilled God tier architects. However, even so, their legacy could not be passed on to others, so his territory could not automatically nurture God tier construction talents. Moreover, foreigners were not as good as what he could nurture. Coupled with the fact that his territory had already become a God tier, and had stepped into the low-tier deity level intermediate grade, many buildings in his territory needed to be upgraded to the God tier level to satisfy the needs of those God tier profession talents. In addition, the soldiers' barracks, drill grounds, training grounds, and other venues also needed to be upgraded to the God tier level. If he could use this class change statue to nurture a large number of mythical tier architects, it would greatly relieve the pressure on his territory's God tier construction needs. This statue of the God of Architecture and Industry came at the right time. Zhou was overjoyed. This class change statue came as soon as he upgraded his territory. How timely! Zhou immediately flew out of the shrine with the class change statue and arrived at an empty space in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. He placed it there. There was a loud bang. A golden Elder One statue, that was 1,000,000 meters tall appeared on the ground of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Such a huge commotion immediately caused the entire Blazing Sun Kingdom to rumble. Many subjects were alarmed as they ran out of their houses and looked up at the tall mythical tier architect statue. When Zhou saw this, he sent a voice transmission to Zheng Yuanqi and Zhao Changshou. Then he told them about the situation of the statue. It's actually a god tier class change statue? Mythical tier architect. The two of them exclaimed at the same time. Especially Zhao Changshou, as a legendary tier advanced grade architect. He seemed to have seen the dawn of his advancement. He looked at the statue with a burning gaze. Zhou nodded slightly and smiled faintly. Prime Minister, Uncle Zhao, the two of you can arrange for the advancement of our empire's legendary advanced grade architect. Yes, Your Majesty. The two of them recovered from their surprise and hurriedly said respectfully in unison. Zhou nodded. Your Majesty, can I try to change my class now? Zhao Changshou said. Old Zhao, why are you so anxious? Since His Majesty has already approved it, don't you want to change your profession whenever you want later? Zheng Yuanqi chuckled. Zhou also laughed. He could tell that Zheng Yuanqi was joking. However, the two of them could also tell that Zhao Changshou was indeed incoherent with excitement as he faced the path of his professional advancement, or rather, his dream of having a brand new path and future. I've embarrassed myself in front of His Majesty and the Prime Minister. Zhao Changshou came back to his senses and said embarrassedly, What's so ridiculous about that? Zhou chuckled. Go ahead if you want to change your occupation. This emperor also wants to see what a mythical tier architect looks like. Now that he had been promoted to the ruler of the empire, he was already qualified to address himself as this emperor. The common language of the High Continent would naturally tell the living beings of the High Continent and the myriad races of the heavens what the phrase this emperor meant. When he became the Lord of the Divine Kingdom, he could take another step forward and address himself as this divine being. Thank you, Your Majesty, Zhao Changshou said excitedly. Then, he turned into a stream of light and soared in front of the statue of the god of architecture and industry. He closed his eyes and communicated with the majestic statue. Suddenly, the statue of the god of architecture and industry suddenly emitted a resplendent golden light that illuminated the entire Blazing Sun Kingdom. Right on the heels of that, a golden stream of light soared out from between the eyebrows of the monument of the god of architecture and industry and merged into Zhao Changshou's body. Zhao Changshou's body trembled and began to fuse with this inheritance power. After a while, Zhao Changshou's body shook, and a newborn aura of divine power spread in all directions with him as the center. A faint golden phantom emerged behind him. It was Kurodo, the monument of the god of architecture and industry. Kurodo's phantom slowly disappeared after Zhao Changshou opened his eyes. Zhao Changshou didn't know what happened behind him. He sensed his incomparably powerful divine body and the inheritance knowledge of the mythical tier architect that had suddenly emerged in his mind. He finally couldn't help but laugh out loud. He could not help but cry again as he laughed. It was an emotional cry, a carefree cry. He had finally realized his dream. Zhao Changshou did not cry too much. He quickly composed himself and returned to Zhou. Your Majesty, I'm finally a mythical tier architect. This mythical tier architect's professional legacy is very top-notch. I feel that even the other god tier architect professions recorded in the myriad races inheritance tower are far inferior to this mythical tier architect profession legacy. Zhao Changshou reported enthusiastically and respectfully. When Zheng Yuanqi heard this, he could not help but feel happy for his old friend. Zhou grinned when he heard that. This mythical tier architect was a top-notch architect life profession legacy of a master god tier advanced grade. Even in the myriad worlds, it was very difficult to find an inheritance comparable to it. Naturally, it was not something that ordinary god spirit level life profession inheritances, true god tiers, and most master god tier architect professions could compare to. He opened Zhao Changshou's personal information and took a look. Then he could not help but click his tongue. This was because he had discovered a large number of low-tier, mid-tier deity level, and even high-tier deity-level god-tier construction skills in Zhao Changsha's skill list. For example, the god-tier blacksmith shop, the god-tier tailor shop, the god-tier carpenter shop, the god-tier divine artifact forging room, the god-tier miracle item shop, the god-tier pet equipment shop, and a series of other building skills. Zhao Changsha had all the building blueprints that had emerged in the mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest, low-tier deity-level elementary grade. As a mythical tier architect, Zhao Changsha even had the building blueprint skills that were not in the mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest, low-tier deity-level elementary grade. Moreover, there were also some auxiliary skills that assisted true god-tier architects in building true god-tier buildings, which meant Zhao Changsha was only a low-tier deity-level elementary grade architect, but he had the ability to participate in the construction if it was a high-tier deity level or true god-tier level building. This was one of the two terrifying characteristics of mythical tier architects. They could be built at a higher level. As for its other profession characteristic, it was also the most unique profession characteristic of mythical tier architects. It was that mythical tier architects could give one or even a few mythical tier architectural characteristics to the buildings that he led. Chapter 1153 Map of the High Continent. Conditions for advancing to intermediate grade empire. For example, the most common residential buildings in the territory. If a mythical tier architect were to build it with all their might, it could be bestowed with mythical tier architectural characteristics such as peacefulness, pleasure with many children, healthy and longevity, and family harmony. If the building built by a mythical tier architect was a god tier building, the mythical tier architect's characteristics would be enhanced. For example, the effect of having many children was, the subjects living in this residence have a chance to increase the potential level of unborn children and descendants by one when they give birth to children. Families with children and descendants are more likely to encounter lucky things when they go out. The more children they have, the more often they encounter lucky things. Health longevity. Maximum lifespan plus 100%. It will not be easily affected by diseases. Even if it accidentally falls ill, it can self-heal in a short period of time. The effects of the other mythical tier building characteristics were equally astonishing. Zhou browsed through it, and increasingly felt that this mythical tier architect's abilities were too powerful, as expected of a treasure from a mythical tier treasure chest. Zhou did not stay for long after that. After handing over the development of the statue of the god of architecture and industry to Zheng Yuanqi and Zhao Changsha, he returned to the shrine alone and opened the novice empire treasure chest. He saw a yellowish-brown ancient map scroll lying quietly in the newbie empire treasure chest. Zhou picked it up and took a look. Then his divine body trembled and he grinned. What day is it today? He actually gave me such a treasure. Treasure name, Map of the High Continent. Treasure grade, special, treasure effect. This is a map of the distribution of the territory of all the lord factions in the entire High Continent. On it is the distribution of the territory of the various lord factions, basic faction information, terrain distribution, location information of natural disasters, civilization style, and other basic information. It can still be considered a precious map, even though it is simple. Moreover, it can update the changes in the territory of the lords and races in the High Continent in real time. It can allow the living beings with it to grasp the latest changes in the territory of the High Continent. Treasure Introduction. A precious map of the entire continent. It contains information on the distribution of the lords' factions and the basic geographical information. It is an indispensable treasure for the lords' factions to conquer the various lords' factions in the continent. With this map of the entire continent, it will be much more convenient to choose a war target in the future. Wu Tu's Heavenly Map Army won't have to do the heavy work of mapping the terrain. I can concentrate on more detailed intelligence exploration. Zhou looked at the map in his hand and was very satisfied. Without another word, he directly sent this map to Wenya's database, and then Wenya sent it to many generals of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, including Wu Tuesday. Then, he ignored the reactions of Wu Tu and the other generals, and continued to look at the other rewards. After the newbie Empire treasure chest, was the announcement reward of 1,000 reputation rating and 10 mythical reputation rating talents. Zhou ignored the reputation rating talents and looked at the 10 mythical reputation rating talents. His eyes lit up. These were 10 mythical reputation ratings talents. Coupled with the 3 mythical reputation ratings talents rewarded previously, it was a total of 13 mythical reputation ratings talents. It represented 13 mythical reputation rating talents like Wuxia, Qi Xiantian, Yuan Song, and Ying Ning, who would arrive in his territory tomorrow. Coupled with the results of the Supreme Conquest, Zhou's lips curled up slightly. From the looks of it, a large number of talents would come to his territory tomorrow. He imagined what might happen the next day and stopped thinking about it. He gazed at the announcement below. Among them, after the Advanced Kingdom channel was upgraded to the Beginner Empire channel, the channel capacity of 1 billion subjects suddenly increased exponentially. It was naturally a great thing for the current beginner subjects. The 1 million trillion channel limit was enough for all the current Blazing Sun Kingdom subjects to join. Furthermore, they did not have to worry about the channel being full for the time being. As for the upgrade of the affiliated kingdom function to a subsidiary kingdom function, Zhou valued it the most. Previously, he could only accept 50 beginner kingdoms and 10 intermediate kingdoms as his affiliated kingdoms. These spots had amplified by dozens of times, reaching the level of 1,000 beginner kingdoms, 500 intermediate kingdoms, and 100 advanced kingdoms. The beginner empire was indeed not the same as the advanced kingdom. The difference was too great. After Zhou sighed, he gazed at the subsidiary kingdoms and fell into deep thought. With so many spots for the affiliated kingdoms, I can take this opportunity to unify all the lords of Cerulean Planet under my command and become my true subordinates. Also, we can allocate some subsidiary kingdom slots to the people of foreign races. Recently, I found Jing Yuanqi. There are many people of foreign races who want to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom. I can use these affiliated kingdom slots and use the Lord talent of the peaceful times to make some people of foreign races who want to submit truly submit. He muttered to himself. In that case, there were still too few slots for these subsidiary kingdoms. It was not enough for those people of foreign races who wanted to submit. If he wanted more people of foreign races to surrender without a fight and directly join the Blazing Sun Kingdom, he still needed more subsidiary kingdom slots. Of course, if these people of foreign races were close to the Blazing Sun Kingdom's territory, Zhou wouldn't even need a subsidiary kingdom spot. He could just lead his troops to attack them. It would be convenient and effective. However, these people of foreign races were all very far away from the territory of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. It would take a long time to reach their territory, even if they used Galaxy. Zhou was not interested in spending a lot of effort to control the territory of the people of foreign races that were too far away. After all, it was beyond his reach. At this time, more places for subsidiary kingdoms would be very useful. Thinking of this, he immediately unveiled the information about the beginner empire and verified the requirements for the beginner empire to be upgraded to an intermediate grade empire. If it was an intermediate grade empire, there would definitely be more subsidiary kingdom slots. Kingdom name, Blazing Sun Empire. King, Blazing Sun Emperor. Kingdom level, Beginner Empire. Kingdom flag. All stars cover the sun. Kingdom army, Blazing Sun Army, high-tier deity level. Monster Army, high-tier deity level. Dragon God Army, high-tier deity level. Myriad Race Army, mid-tier deity level. Heavenly Map Army, low-tier deity level. Homeland Defense Army, extraordinary tier. Prerequisites to advance to the intermediate grade empire. Territory level to the mid-tier deity level. Elementary grade, capital city region level to the mid-tier deity level. 1000 mid-tier deity level elementary divine crystals. Conquer 3 of the Crimson Overlord's beginner empire, 0/3. Conquer 2 beginner empires that are not under the Crimson Overlord, 0/2. Conquer any intermediate lord faction, and possess its mid-tier deity level empire token, 0 to 1, 100,000 independent regional territories, 5,000 racial heroes, 20 deity worshippers of their own race. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up after reading it. He could easily satisfy the other conditions. Only the territory needed some time to advance to the mid-tier deity level elementary grade. Perhaps it wouldn't take long for him to advance to an intermediate grade empire. Chapter 1154 Lord Talon Improvement. Mysterious Auction. Zhou Zhou closed the information interface and flew out of the shrine. He floated in the starry sky of the Divine Kingdom and looked at his shrine. This low-tier deity-level intermediate grade shrine looked majestic and magnificent. Looking from afar, one could feel an overwhelming nomological pressure surrounding the shrine. It was intimidating. Divine clouds of various nomological laws enveloped the Divine Kingdom, emitting various nomological divine lights. Earth, water, thunder, light, darkness, fire, grass, battle, formation, blazing sun. There were all kinds of laws here. If there were gods who walked the corresponding path of laws, under the illumination of this divine light, it would even be easier for them to comprehend their own laws. In the center of these divine clouds of laws stood a nine-colored cloud. He emitted a mysterious nomological aura. Under the envelopment of this mysterious nomological aura, ordinary god spirits could sense the endless profundities of nomological laws. He even felt like he was in a supreme domain. Only gods who walked the path of the Lord's laws could sense that the origin of the nine-colored clouds contained extremely profound mysteries of the Lord's laws. This nine-colored cloud was the Lord's nomological divine cloud. Zhou Zhou looked at the cloud for a while and smiled in satisfaction. He could tell that the nomological clouds could assist he in comprehending the Lord's laws. Towards such a divine object that could assist one in comprehending laws, he naturally felt that the more the merrier. As for the current shrine, Zhou Zhou was also very satisfied. It was not that he had never seen a shrine at the level of a god spirit. Zhou Zhou had even seen a shrine at the level of a divine kingdom. However, it was not an exaggeration to say that he looked at his shrine and felt that his shrine was more magnificent than the shrines of the divine kingdom lords. Perhaps this was the uniqueness of Lord Law God Spirit Lords. Then, he watched for a while longer before reluctantly returning to the shrine. He also sent someone to call Mugu, Zheng Fugui, and Caro Moeli over. A moment later, the three of them came over. Zhou Zhou's gaze immediately landed on Mugu. At this moment, Mugu's figure was much more solid than before. Zhou Zhou quickly thought of the reason. It seemed that after the upgrade of the territory and the upgrade of the Scarlet Brood Mother, Mugu had become stronger and could show a more real divine body. "Greetings, Your Majesty," the three of them said respectfully. "Tell me about your growth." Zhou Zhou said expectantly. This time, he had upgraded his territory by 3 levels in a row, and he had even upgraded his generals from non-god tier to god tier. The lord talents of the three of them should have been greatly enhanced, right? "Yes, Your Majesty," the three of them said respectfully. Then, Mugu was the first to stand up. "Your Majesty, the Scarlet Brood Mother I'm currently in has been upgraded from legendary tier intermediate grade to low-tier deity level intermediate grade. The number of Mist Mothers evolved from the low-tier deity level intermediate grade Scarlet Brood Mother has increased from 15,000 to 50,000. Each Mist Mother's Mist Mother world can now nurture 80 million fog monsters. 50,000 Mist Mothers can nurture a total of 4 trillion fog monsters. Other than that, the quality and efficiency of cultivating high-quality Scarlet Heirs has also increased. Currently, I can at most nurture a Scarlet God Spirit below the high-tier deity level. This process will take about 3 days. If I want to nurture a Scarlet Descendant of a mid-tier deity level advanced grade, it will only take about a day. Zhou Zhou was shocked. He could nurture 4 trillion fog monsters in a day. If he used it to create the Violent Storm Spirit and the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier, he would obtain nearly 20 trillion troops in a day. He couldn't help but click his tongue in surprise. Nearly 20 trillion troops in a day. The total number of troops under him together with the total number of troops of the Star Alliance, was only close to 10 trillion. It was only half of the total number of soldiers created by the Scarlet Brood Mother. He was right. The Lord Talent of the Scarlet Brood Mother had indeed been strengthened to an astonishing extent as his territory entered the God tier level. After a while, he finally calmed down from the news. He thought for an instant and said, "Among your 50,000 mist mothers, leave 10,000 to specially nurture the iron-eating bear and the withered tree. As for the other 40,000 mist mothers, 20,000 will be used to nurture the violent storm demon spirit, and the other 20,000 will be used to nurture the yellow talisman Dao soldier. As for the mechanical fear falcon, we want for the moment being." The loots provided by the mechanical fear falcon were nothing more than flying equipment, fear falcon wings and reconnaissance equipment, fear falcon radar. With Zhou's current technology, he could make these two things himself, without the need to create them through the Scarlet Brood Mother. In that case, he would not waste the precious cultivation quota of the Scarlet Brood Mother to create these two things. As for the iron-eating bear and the withered tree, the former could produce iron-eating bear pet eggs and minerals. Before there was a better substitute for monsters, Zhou did not plan to replace it. As a fog monster that could produce tree core gems, that could lower the level requirement of equipment, Zhou would definitely not give up. Otherwise, his soldiers wouldn't be able to use high-level equipment. They could only use equipment of the same level. That would reduce the combat power of their soldiers. The class change certificate and recruitment books for 40,000 mist mothers to create the violent storm spirit and the yellow talisman Dao soldier were enough. With 40,000 mist mothers, he could obtain 8 trillion yellow talisman Dao soldier recruitment books for 8 trillion yellow talisman Dao soldier class change certificate for 8 trillion violent storm spirit recruitment books and 8 trillion violent storm spirit class change certificate tomorrow. If they use both the recruitment books and the class change certificate, he would have an additional 2 trillion units tomorrow. That was 2 trillion troops. It was equivalent to recruiting the total military strength of 2 junior Divine Kingdom factions in a day. If the lords and races in the outside world heard this, their jaws would probably drop. At this thought, a faint smile appeared on Zhou's face. All right, this emperor understands. Just like before, we don't need to nurture the Scarlet God Spirit for the moment being. We just need to specialize in nurturing ordinary ranch monsters. He stated to Mugu. Yes, Your Majesty. Gu stated dutifully before he retreated. Then Zheng Fugui walked out. Your Majesty. Now, the number of mysterious merchant has increased from 10 million to 200 million after the territory upgraded to low-tier deity level intermediate grade. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 200 million. All of us mysterious merchants' strength has also increased to low-tier deity level intermediate grade. In addition, every mysterious merchant's dimensional ring has been officially upgraded to a small world ring. It can accommodate an entire small world's worth of goods. In the end, our treasure hunting ability has also improved again. In the future, when we go out to do business, we should be able to bring back at least 10 treasures at a time. There's one last improvement. We received an invitation to the enigmatic auction after our mysterious merchant team advanced to God tier. With this invitation, Your Majesty can participate in an auction held by the headquarters of our mysterious merchant chamber of commerce with our mysterious merchant. As he spoke, he flipped his right palm and saw a black invitation letter appear in his palm. There was a deep purple flower carved on the front of the black invitation letter. Below the flower was a sea of stars, and above the sea of stars was a golden sun. It looked beautiful and mysterious. Oh, Zhou raised his eyebrows. Mysterious auction? Is it hosted by the headquarters of the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce? Chapter 1155 Unprecedented Crisis. He summoned the invitation letter from Zheng Fugui's hand and looked at it thoughtfully. As the owner of the mysterious merchant Lord Talent, he naturally knew that the mysterious merchant faction under him was only a part of the legendary mysterious merchant chamber of commerce. In fact, it was just an inconspicuous part. As a merchant faction personally established by the Supreme Will, it traversed the myriad worlds, and even the Supreme Continent. It was even famous among the Divine Kingdom Lord factions. The mysterious Chamber of Commerce could be said to be the #1 merchant group in the Infinite Realms. Logically speaking, the mysterious merchant Chamber of Commerce would not be dominated by any Lord's faction. It was only because of his Lord talent that he was able to forcibly separate a portion of the mysterious merchant faction to submit as his subordinates. Now that his territory had been upgraded to God tier, the mysterious caravan's influence had finally been upgraded to the extent that it had attracted the attention of the mysterious merchant Chamber of Commerce. This mysterious auction invitation letter was proof. Perhaps when I raise my territory to the level of high-tier deity level, true God tier, or even Master God tier, or Supreme God realm, I can interfere or even enter the mysterious merchant Chamber of Commerce and make this Chamber of Commerce faction that spans the myriad worlds work for me. Zhou was ambitious. When will the mysterious auction begin? He stopped thinking and asked Zheng Fugui. 3 days later. Your Majesty, this mysterious auction only happens once every 10,000 years. Countless rare treasures will appear. Even Master God tier, Supreme God realm artifacts, and even will-level treasures might appear. Your Majesty, if there's nothing important, you must participate. Zheng Fugui was afraid that His Majesty wouldn't know the importance of the mysterious auction, so he couldn't help but remind him. Zhou was shocked. He didn't care about the Master God tier divine artifact. However, he had never seen a supreme divine artifact, or even a treasure at the level of willpower. He had only heard of it in the bloodline inheritance. This mysterious auction would actually be auctioned? As expected of the Supreme Will's money bag, the #1 merchant faction in the infinite worlds. His foundation was indeed not to be underestimated. This emperor will participate. Zhou said seriously. Zheng Fugui nodded. Zhou was deep in thought. He even felt a little unconfident. He wondered if the wealth he had accumulated so far was enough to buy something from the mysterious auction. At this moment, Zheng Fugui had already retreated. Carol Moeli walked out. Your Majesty, after the territory was upgraded to the low-tier deity level intermediate grade, our life arc already has 500 billion clergymen, 500 billion priests, 500 billion nuns, and 5,000 billion life holy knights. These clergymen are enough to complete war healing missions and revive wars with billions of troops. Also, currently, there are 1,000 high-level divine duty members of the life arc God spirit level. Every one of them has mastered the resurrection spells, and they can resurrect the deities of our country alone. As for my strength, I've already advanced to the intermediate grade true God tier. With my attainments in the Great Resurrection spell, and my status as the Pope, I can revive any existence below the Master God tier. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. There were more and more God spirits under him. He needed more high-level clergy members who had mastered the Great Resurrection spell to be in charge of the corresponding resurrection matters. These 1,000 God spirit level high-level clergy members came at the right time. Then, Zhou chatted with them for a while before letting the 3 of them leave. Not long after the 3 of them left, Wu Tu and Zheng Yuanqi came to see him again. Zhou saw them. What is it? He asked. Your Majesty, I just received an important piece of information. Wu Tu's expression was pale and solemn as he said. Just now, my intelligence personnel told me that AUS, the ruler of the chaotic Scarlet Empire, has decided to join forces with all the Scarlet forces that have invaded the High Continent to come to our blazing Sun Empire and destroy it. What? Zhou did not react. Zheng Yuanqi, who was beside him, cried out in surprise. Then, his face immediately turned pale. As the Prime Minister of the Blazing Sun Empire, he innately knew about these Scarlet factions that had invaded the High Continent. Furthermore, he also knew that these Scarlet factions that had invaded the High Continent were extremely ambitious. Their goal was the entire High Continent, so they had delivered quite a number of troops and God spirits. Previously, He had pondered that as long as these scarlet forces didn't attack their Sun Kingdom together, their Sun Kingdom wouldn't encounter too much danger. However, he never expected that these scarlet factions would suddenly change their targets and work together to attack them. With such a robust scarlet army, even if their forces increased by 10 or 100 times, they would probably not be a match for the other party, right? When Zhou heard Wu Tu's words, he could not help but be shocked. Are you sure this is true? Zhou forced himself to calm down and asked. When I first heard this news, I couldn't believe that it was true. However, after repeated inspection, I've already confirmed that this news is true. Wu Tu said. How many troops do they have? How long will it take for them to arrive at this emperor's territory? Zhou asked again. According to my estimation, after the other party unites more than 50,000 forces of the Crimson Kingdom, and more than 1,000,000 forces of the Crimson Kingdom, there should be more than 5,000 true god tiers, more than 33 million god spirits, and more than 8,000 trillion scarlet soldiers. Furthermore, the other party has a true god tier flying warship. The day after tomorrow at the latest, they will be able to join forces with all the scarlet factions and come to our blazing Sun Kingdom's territory. Wu Tu said truthfully. Zheng Yuanqi fell silent. Zhou could not help but frown. This military strength, even if he was given another month to develop, it was impossible to reach it. Furthermore, with such troops, his 10,000 spirit saint would not be effective. This was an enemy that was absolutely impossible to fight against. An idea immediately appeared in his mind. He definitely could not fight the other party. Whether it was a head-on attack or a roundabout sneak attack, it did not work. In the face of absolute strength, any strategy was useless. Even if he used all the battle resurrection scrolls and revived his soldiers 10 times or more, he would still be unable to resist these scarlet factions. What do I do? Zhou forced himself to remain calm and commenced to think. He quickly pondered of a treasure. The territory relocation order. This was one of the racial-level treasures he had obtained from the heaven-hidden race. It could transfer the territory within the territory to other places, or even to another world. However, after some thought, Zhou gave up on this method. From the looks of the current situation, he had to leave the High Continent if he wanted to avoid the attacks of AUS and the other Scarlet forces. However, leaving the High Continent meant losing the protection of the Supreme Agreement. When the time came, he and the Blazing Sun Empire would definitely be ambushed or even surrounded by Master God tier level experts. Even though Zhou had the protection of the Master God tier God Spirit, he still felt that it wasn't safe to just have one Master God tier God Spirit. If an accident happened, the losses would be unacceptable to him. It might even be better to fight guerrilla warfare with these Scarlet forces on the High Continent. This would not do. He had to change his method. Zhou commenced to rack his brains faced with this unprecedented crisis. He pondered for a while, and an idea suddenly flashed through his mind. Then, he couldn't get rid of this idea. The idea was, asking for help from the Supreme Will? Is it feasible? Zhou took a deep breath and pondered. Chapter 1156 Requesting Help from the Supreme Will. Zhou did not hesitate for too long. Actually, there was no time to hesitate or make unnecessary choices. Therefore, he decided to give it a try. You guys go out for a while. This emperor will have a solution. Zhou said to Wu Tu and Zheng Yuanqi. Yes, your majesty. Wu Tu and Zheng Yuanqi heaved a sigh of relief. In their hearts, his majesty was an invincible existence. No matter what kind of predicament it was in front of his majesty, it would be easily resolved by his majesty. Even though this crisis was unprecedented, under his majesty's leadership, they believed that they would definitely be able to survive this crisis without any mishaps. The two of them did not say anything else and left the shrine hall. Zhou looked at the empty shrine hall and took a deep breath. He stood up and respectfully said to the empty air in front of him, Lord of the Blazing Sun requests an audience with Lord Supreme Will. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. There was no reaction from the empty hall. Nothing magical had happened. Zhou's heart sank. Is there still no way for the Supreme Will to hear my call with the attention I've accumulated in front of the Supreme Will in my previous activities? Big Boss, I'm your number one fighter and number one underling. I've done both meritorious and hard work. Give me some reaction when I call out to you. Otherwise, I would have turned to the Crimson Overlord. Zhou could not help but complain in his heart. Following that, he held back the urge to ridicule and continued respectfully, Lord Supreme Will. Now that the Crimson Overlord has invaded the High Continent, the Scarlet Forces suddenly want to collectively attack my Blazing Sun Empire. They want to destroy me and my Lord's faction in one fell swoop. I really can't deal with this situation. Lord Supreme Will, please descend and help your subordinate lord survive this crisis. Zhou addressed himself as a subordinate. However, there was still no reaction from the Supreme Will. Zhou did not give up and continued to say all kinds of good things. He knew that he was doing something that the lords of the other races did not even dare to think about or do. However, compared to the current crisis, asking the Supreme Will for help was the best, most effective, and most direct solution to the crisis that he had thought of. As for his pride, he was about to die, so to hell with his pride. After an unknown period of time, Lord Supreme Will, open your big eyes. Your lord is at his wit's end. Before he could continue, boom, he suddenly disappeared. In a special space that was raining heavily, Zhou suddenly appeared. Drops of rain landed on him. Every drop of rain transformed into a large amount of nomological comprehension and fused into his soul, increasing his nomological foundation. Faced with such a strange and familiar nomological rain phenomenon, how could Zhou not know where he was? The Supreme Domain! I've been teleported to the Supreme Domain! Zhou muttered to himself in surprise. At this moment, a pure white light suddenly appeared in the sky, then slowly condensed into a pure white eye. The pure white eye looked at him quietly. Zhou immediately felt an endless pressure descend on him, making him, not daring to offend him. He took a deep breath and respectfully said, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Greetings, Lord Supreme Will. I already know about you. A neutral and indifferent voice that was difficult to distinguish between male and female resounded throughout the entire Supreme Domain. Lord Supreme Will, I'm not someone who will ask for help easily. It's just that the danger I'm facing this time is far beyond my ability and exceeds the limit of the test I should undergo as a lord of all races. That's why I have no choice but to ask you for help. What do you want? The Supreme Will asked. I want to lead all the lord factions participating in the King of 10,000 Kings and the tribulation of 10,000 races. Zhou had a plan in mind and immediately said, The Supreme Will. Good kid, you're ambitious enough to want the overall command of this event, right? Impossible. The Supreme Will replied. After a moment of silence, it said, However, I can let you command all the lords of all races. In addition, I can let the members of the racial factions of the Supreme Alliance deal with your crisis together, so that you won't be alone and helpless. As for the rest, it's up to you. Thank you, Lord Supreme Will. Zhou was overjoyed and immediately said. He didn't expect his initial wish to be fulfilled by the Supreme Will. He was already very satisfied to have such an outcome. I'm not done yet. The Supreme Will continued. I've never set up a special event content for a lord of all races alone. So as a price, you have to do something else. What is it? Zhou was stunned. Destroy the remaining 93 high-level Scarlet Empires led by the Chaos Scarlet Empire, and end this King of 10,000 Kings event early, within the next 3 days. 3 days? Do you want me to destroy them all alone? Zhou asked. What if the 93 high-level Scarlet Empire factions are attacked by the racial factions of the Supreme Alliance midway? That's your problem. I won't stop them from doing anything. If they destroy the high-level Scarlet Empire, the racial forces of the Supreme Alliance will also obtain benefits that belong to them after all. How to solve this problem is up to you. Does that mean that my operation will be considered a failure if I missed out even one high-level Scarlet Empire? Zhou asked. That's right. The Supreme Will said. Zhou frowned deeply. This had been really difficult. It had been already difficult enough to deal with those high-level scarlet forces. Coupled with the existence of competitors, the factors involved were even more uncontrollable. Lord Supreme will you tell the members of the racial factions of the Supreme Alliance about this? Zhou thought for a moment and asked. No. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. If the members of the Supreme Will's racial faction did not know about this, then he might be able to secretly complete these 93 targets. I understand. Thank you for your help, Lord Supreme Will. I will remember it. Zhou said respectfully. It's better to destroy a few more powerful scarlet forces than saying these vacant words. Do it. I'm looking forward to your performance. The divine will finish speaking. Zhou felt his vision turn black. In the next second, he realized that he had returned to the shrine. Before he could return to his senses, an indifferent voice that had been difficult to distinguish between a man and a woman resounded in the ears of all the lords and races. The Divine Law Empire, the imperial capital of heavenly law. In the imperial palace, a true god tier of the original spirit race, who had been at the true god tier level, was sitting high on the throne. Below him were the ministers of the Divine Law Empire from various races. At this moment, in the main hall, a minister had been reporting the information he had just received. According to reliable reports, the Chaos Scarlet Empire has already led all the forces of the Crimson Kingdom and the Scarlet Empire in this invasion to the territory of the human lord of the Blazing Sun. They want to obliterate the Blazing Sun Empire, which has just been promoted to an Empire tier lord. As soon as these words were spoken, all the ministers immediately discussed in shock. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.